Greetings and welcome to the 1-6 Scale Man. Probably presents, you know what it is. The return of Comic Book Talk with Friends. Sorry, we've been away for a long time, but life takes over. Life definitely has one of its moments. So, in the midst of those moments, you got to take care of some things, but you always come back stronger. So, welcome back. Welcome everybody back. I know it's been a long hiatus, but we are finally back. And we got, some things that we're going to actually cover. We're going to talk about one of the most prolific artists, the forgotten one himself, Gil Kane. If you don't know him, like a very, very decent artist in the making. That's been around. He actually passed away, but again, his art still lives. You probably have some in your collection, didn't even really know it. He has some similarities, art style to others, but at the same time, it's really unique, especially his story choices and when he melds with his writers. So we'll talk about him. We're going to also basically talk about Guardians. If you actually got a chance to go out there, check out Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Did it live up to those expectations? Did you think it was actually good? How do you think the MCU is going to be going forward? That's going to be the biggest question. A lot riding on this one. Rightfully so, in my opinion, it shouldn't ride on this one. It was his own standalone as a trilogy. I think it did a great job, but we'll get into that. Also, we're going to talk about James Gunn and his Superman legacy. After basically coming off of Guardians, do we now trust that this man can deliver? Are we in that space where we think that he could possibly deliver? Now, and moving on from the simple fact that we got to also keep in mind that there is no Henry Cavill. We got to move on to just see how the casting is going to be. But at the same time, based off of what we got from Guardians, do we think he can deliver? So that's definitely going to be a question that we will talk about that and plenty more. But I can't do it without bringing in the guys. You love them. You know them all. Everybody out there. The crew's back. What's going on, people? How y'all doing?
Cooling, cooling.
Doing good. Definitely great space to be in at the moment. Always, we call this like a fortress of solitude when it comes to like the collecting or the comic book community, where everything is going on the outside. You come here and you can just basically relax and talk about books, talk about the enjoyment of comics, talk about the cinematic universe. Everything's good. What you going on? What's going on with you, Jedi Pimp? How you good?
I'm fantastic, man. I can't complain, bro. Year's almost over for me. With work, it's gonna slow down for a little bit. Thank God. I've been getting this collection together with these books. Nobody told me about Superman Lost. If you can get this book, yo, I think Brendan said something about it a couple of months ago. I can't remember, but this freaking book is awesome.
Mhm.
Um, I've been going to, let me see, getting my collection together as far as figures. I got Captain America and finally Falcon. Cyborg's on his way, thank God, from Toys Wonderland. I finally pulled the trigger on him.
Mhm.
And the family's good, bro. It's good to see you guys, man. Y'all been going for a minute. So it's good
Yeah,
to see the
bro.
boys back in town. I've been bugging Brendan the whole time we've been off about books. I've been calling him up, Brendan. This is out. This is out. But other than
Yeah.
that, man, we've been good, bro. No complaints from me, man.
Good man, good man. So glad to have you here with us.
Yes, sir.
Benny, what's going on with you, man? How's everything going on your side of the on our
We
both
back.
our
We
side of the
back.
worlds, but within your atmosphere, how's everything going, brother?
No doubt. Super busy time of the season, so I've just been trying to keep my head above water and just grinding. Just super swamped with work, and also getting new pieces together. I have a con coming up in June, so I've been just hustling, getting that stuff together with whatever little free time I have on the side. But other than that, been good, man. Been well. Just enjoying as much content as possible. Just lots to talk about, that's going on and went down since we've been, had the pleasure of being in your homes and laptops and phones since last time. So we have a lot to get into for sure, and just anxious to get into it.
Yeah, man. So glad to actually. It's been a lot. It's been some
No
transitions,
doubt.
man. It's been a lot of things that's been going on, man, lately. That It's crazy. Like crazy. These past couple of weeks, months have been nutty.
Yeah, man. Never
You know,
boring.
never boring, man. Like I said, I mean, going back, it's been more focusing on just kind of re-upping after everything back in the job atmosphere as far as, working from home in the studio, stuff like that as well.
Yep.
So it's been crazy. So as always, bro, it's a good thing to have you here.
No doubt.
Last
Good
but
to be
not
back, man.
least, definitely, bro. Last but not least, know I'm loving with the Sour Patch Kid eating mofo. We got butt naked in the building. Brendan, what's going on with you, brother? Sour Patch Kids, but whoa, nah, nah, nah. Tell me that that's not a custom made box. Tell me that that's just the way it comes on the box.
I can't confirm
A
or
whole-
deny.
A whole pack of those, bro.
Butt naked mix.
Oh my god.
Please, somebody out there, look it up. Look it up to see if y'all can find, if you can get a custom made box.
Oh my god. He got a huge box of Sour Patch. How are you eating it? He loved them shits though, I guess. Oh my god, I can't do it.
I mean, I have to. Like,
Where you get the box from? BJ's? That's a big ass box, dog.
you think that BJ's sells the butt naked? Well, actually, I guess if any place did BJ's, that would make sense.
That they would, yeah.
Yeah, BJ's and Costco was box of butt naked Sour Patch.
I haven't seen a I have a box that had butt neck. I haven't even seen a small pack that had butt naked on it, bro. Like,
Let me
now-
find out. You called the company and had to make a custom box for you.
how?
Right
I'm
now,
just
Lael
trying to
is
figure out how.
googling butt naked Sour Patch, and he's gonna
It's gonna wind up on the list.
his search history is gonna be so fucked now.
I'm not doing it.
Butt naked Sour Patch box.
Butt
Extra
naked
large.
Sour Patch box.
Wow.
Like, how the fuck? Like,
Wow.
please,
Connection.
somebody out there, like, if you're watching this, I want you to screenshot that shit. Screenshot it, and I want you to post it. Just on your Instagram page, whatever. Just screenshot it. Start to circulate, because I want this. How?
Shout out to Brendan's wife for watching this man open up a custom made Sour Patch.
Bro, put it in the camera again, bro.
Going,
People at home
Babe,
gotta see that box.
what is that?
Butt naked mix. Sour Patch Kids? That's a butt naked Sour Patch Kids mix.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I want butt
Only
naked
Brendan.
kids. and
Only
then-
Brendan would find that kind of shit.
Yeah,
You gotta say Sour Patch Kids
yeah,
Butt
but
butt naked mix.
Oh.
If you say butt naked Sour Patch Kids
yeah,
mix,
that's what I
It
mean.
gets
It's a
dicey.
whole nother thing.
it
Bro,
gets
You have to be
dicey.
really careful. 'Cause
Bruh.
you're not
Yeah,
butt naked.
Bruh.
And it's
the
too close
order
proximity.
you
You're gonna
use
have
the
the
words in
FBI
is
at your front
very-
door.
Close proximity. It should be on the
Butt
same.
The order
Sour
of the
Patch
words
Kids
is
mix.
very important.
It's very important. Very important. I don't know. We're on the list now.
Bro, I need to laugh, dog.
Wait.
That's hilarious, bro.
Wait.
My man got a Costco size Sour Patch box. I'm gonna go look for one tomorrow.
Wait. It is always the unexpected fucking moments.
Always an unexpected with Brendan, bro.
Oh my god. Where? Like,
Mm-mm-mm.
You're gonna have the Coolio mix next week.
Word. I can see him doing it. I can see him doing it.
oh, hold on.
Coolio, yeah.
They don't have all the sour. Yeah, they do.
It's.
He gonna show. Zoom in. Zoom in.
Yeah.
Hold
I mean,
on,
it's
hold
just a
on.
Sour Patch. It's all. It's not just.
Put it.
I mean,
Put it way
Sour
in front
Patch
of the
Kids
camera.
don't really
Brendan.
have a booty. Like, what would the booty be? I don't.
Maybe this dude. He got cereal box size.
That's a big ass box of Sour Patch.
Yo, I have never seen a big. You see the bags, like you see the big ass bags.
I've never seen a
box.
That have the bag in it.
I've never seen the box before like that, bro.
Yeah, that's definitely like industrial size.
Wow, fam.
Yo, okay. That's so
That's
like,
the first, son. I never
Vinny,
seen that before.
like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is the only place that basically has the Middlesworth family size.
Yeah.
For anybody who basically lives in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, we own it.
Orgy size.
We own it. Middlesworth chips are the best chips on the planet Earth. And we are the only place that actually has it. To whereas if you take those chips anywhere, but anyway, that's a weekender.
Yeah.
That's damn near size of a weekender, bro.
Bro, he got the barrel.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the barrel, open top of fucking
junk in the trunk.
The barrel with the punch holes and everything, John.
Bindu Windu says the guy sugar chaps like Prince. Wow. Yo. Anyway. Need I ask anything else, bro?
I mean, do it at your own risk. But...
Okay, so you got there. Okay, so I see that you basically got.
I'm trying to find them.
You got that Iron Man statue that came in as dope as fuck. You got
no, that just went up.
No.
Oh, you didn't get it,
bro? No, I did. I pre-ordered it. That just went up for pre-order the other day,
bro.
It doesn't come out until next year. That's
Wonder
Legendary
Woman?
Beast.
That
Wonder Woman you got
is flawless.
The Linda Carter Wonder Woman finally came in after like
that thing is flawless, bro.
So you know what I'm about to do, right?
Zoom in.
Well, she's all the way over there.
So
zoom in.
So,
I'm just saying she's not like properly like lit or zoom in, but she's there with Daredevil.
No,
he got the Daredevil twins, and he got her behind that. No, you gotta move him over, bro.
Close to the camera.
You flaunted it all week on Instagram.
It was right back there the entire time, and you knew that our eyes and attention would go to that son of a bitch.
Bring it up. Bring it over.
All right.
Put it right in front of Kenway. It's okay. He'll be all right.
Yeah, just go
Put
get
it in front of Kenway, dog.
Go get it.
Yo, that statue was flawless, bro. Like,
look how big the bitch is.
Yo,
look at that. Look.
Oh my God, bro.
Yo. And it's Linda Carter, bro.
Yep. The best. The best.
It's Linda Carter, bro.
The best Wonder Woman. Oh my God, that's fire.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yo, the face is flawless, bro.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
They crushed it. Like the texture on the boots, there's like you can see
like leather kind of.
The zippers on there.
Yeah.
And there's like the texture on the boots is insane.
That's so dope, man.
The sculpted hair is like perfect. Yeah, it's a mess.
There's only one head sculpt with that?
Yeah, just the one.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
See. And hold up, is that the one that comes with the cape?
It does. I have the cape over there. I'm not displaying it with the cape because I think it looks better without it. But also,
yeah, it does, man.
The Wonder Woman, this gray Wonder Woman logo that pops into the base in the back of it. And if you use the cape, it kind of obscures like that logo.
Oh,
the way it's visible. So I don't use the cape, but I think it looks good without it. So.
Yeah, man, you killed that. That looks amazing, bro.
So yeah, this came in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I love that.
I wanna. The thing is, it's like holding out for a 6-scale version of that's not gonna happen anytime soon. At least it's going to.
Nah, you're gonna have to get it.
Maybe a third party, but like I don't see Hot Toys or InArt doing it. So yeah, it's probably gonna be. You basically have to go statue and like somebody like I think Iron Studios made one too in like quarter scale, but I didn't really like it that much. But this one was just perfect. I knew I had to do it. So, and I got it for a steal too. Like I don't remember exactly what I ended up paying for it, but it was like I got it through Marcos at Collector's Zone, and I, discount code and stuff, and I definitely paid well under retail for this.
Definitely, bro.
So
that shit's
this one
fucking
is crazy.
Yeah, that's Vinny. You quiet, bro. You ain't saying nothing. What's going on?
Yeah,
What you
that statue is it? What can you say, bro? That shit is flawless, man.
Fire.
You good, Vinny? You good?
I'm good.
I thought you was over there crying, bro.
No,
And so
Okay.
she's over there with I have the 1/3 Miles, and then I've got like a 1/3 Batman and a Joker, and then the legendary Beast Iron Man.
Are you gonna put them in cases too, or no, like module cases, or are you gonna build one, or?
I don't think so, because I think I'm gonna have them. I'm gonna probably get a better kind of like table over here that I can put them all on. But yeah, like putting 3rd scale in like a case, like a module case, that's like that's a massive like just space commitment. And
is there anything like IKEA that can fit that in the case at IKEA?
There's probably something. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's probably something. But like,
man, you got to put her up.
But the Iron Man one, because it's a huge base too. The Iron Man one is like 34 inches tall, something like that. So when that arrives, like that's getting that into a case would be a nightmare.
What's that, Mark III? You got Mark III?
No, it's the Legendary Beast. They have the classic Avengers line, so it's kind of like
okay.
Early like Bob Layton and Alex Ross kind of like combo, for Iron Man. Kind of similar to like the Hot Toy, like the classic design, the concept design Hot Toy that they did. So it's really good, but it's huge because it goes along with that like the Avengers line that they've done like that. They did a Cap and a Thor, and then recently they did like that Hulk with the 3 different swap out torsos, that like massive thing. It's that same company. It's Legendary Beast, and they're working with XM Studios. So that Iron Man just went up for pre-order the other day, and I had to jump on that. Like I told my wife, I was like, I have to have that.
I know, but that Linda Carter though.
I absolutely love this. I was talking to I can't remember who I was talking to. Somebody
her
like
shape is cool.
And man, I would love to have a display that had this Linda Carter Wonder Woman, an Adam West Batman, and then the Flash, John Wesley ship, like Flash from the 90s,
and the Christopher Reeve.
Have your hands on her butt.
Yep. Yeah. And Christopher Reeve Superman. Yeah. And basically do like a
Justice League
through to the 90s, like DC, like Justice League, all those classics.
Always got to put the hands on the legs and the booty.
Of course. You can't avoid that with Linda
That's
Carter,
how you got to hold her. You got to support, where there's the most to support.
Jesus. Linda Carter back then was the truth. She took me for
anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. We got sidetracked, but the shit is dope. It's so dope. I would have, but Toya just ain't let me go down that road with prices and stuff like that. She's real strict on me right now when it comes to finances. So she's like, yeah, nah, we got a plan, so we're gonna stick to it. And I'm like, okay. So now my collecting is limited. So she's on watch right now. She's in the chat. So she's on watch.
She on watch.
Got me on lockdown right now. She is, bro. Like,
I know how that is, bro.
She's like, nah, we on a plan right now. So, yep, limited. Whatever comes out, if I say you can have it, then we'll go down that road. But right now, she's like, no, we're on a plan. So you're gonna actually have to wait and see. So, but speak of collecting, this motherfucker thought we was gonna let him slide, right?
Oh,
hey yo,
Jedi
Pimp. Hey yo, Brennan, this motherfucker thought we was gonna let him slide. We ain't letting him slide. Everybody out there, my man Vinny just got his first Hot Toy figure. He got his Luke Skywalker from there. Go get it. Go get it. Go get the box.
Get the box, bro. No.
Get
the box, bro.
See, in the box, you ain't got it set up yet.
Oh, the box went
one thing that I haven't had a chance to like get it all set up yet. But next week I'm gonna have it all ready.
You mean open the box yet?
You have no idea. I've had like 0 time, bro.
Oh, all right. I'll let you slide because you've been working. I'll let you slide.
Don't, you know what? I honestly
look, man. You can get nervous. I remember when I lost my virginity, man.
When you open that box and smell that brand new plastic, bro.
Listen, Vinny, listen, bro. Look, I give
It's
you
a
that.
wrap.
I give you
It's a
that
wrap.
because it took me months.
It's a
It took
wrap.
me months to finally open mine to get it in display.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just that, because I finally opened Ahsoka, I finally opened Luke, I finally got the NR Joker out. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
like,
sometimes it's like, look, man, if I don't
yeah,
have time to like get into it, I don't want to get into. I want to like. It's like if I got 20
yeah.
minutes free time, I'm not trying to like. Yeah, I just haven't had time. I want to
Yeah.
set it
That-
up.
You gotta do it when you're off, bro. A day
The
off.
box for that in-art Joker was as big as the 1/3 Wonder Woman box.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was. There were 800 fucking stamps on mine.
Mhm.
By the way, it was like 800
Fuck.
stamps just
Who'd you get it through?
taped on there. I Pop Collectibles, but it was like I was like, all right, wait, I can have it in like 10 to 12 days. And
Mm-hmm.
go with the shipping option that was like $60 cheaper. I was like, I can wait,
Mhm.
a couple
Yeah.
extra days. Like instead of going for like the airmail that was going to be ridiculous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I saved the money on the shipping. I was like, I'm patient because the last month, dude, I have gotten so many pieces into my collection between books and art
Mhm.
prints and like custom like those like Daredevil figures, like the statues, the 8 inches, the Wonder Woman. Like I've gotten so much stuff
Sour
into
Patch
my
Kids.
collection.
Did you get
in the
that
last
Iron
month.
Man? That Iron Man 1/6 scale statue? You got that one too, right? The new one? What was the one you got? I think a while ago. That it came out. It was a
Right.
1/6 scale Iron Man that you bought.
1/6 scale
Iron Man statue. Did you get that?
Oh, the like Kotobukiya one. I got that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, like 8 months ago though.
You did? I don't remember
Yeah,
you
that's not
posting that.
No, the Iron Man that I just recently pre-ordered is that 3rd scale legendary beast, but that's not going to be out for like a year.
Okay.
But I had, like I said, I had so many pieces coming into the collection that I was like, I'm not in a rush to get the in-art Joker. I can wait an extra 5 or 6 days and save like $60 in shipping. Because that box is fucking ridiculous. Like that
Bro,
thing.
Did you get? Oh, so did you get the sculpted or did you get the?
I went with the sculpted because
Okay.
I was just like, let me save the money. And the thing is, it looks perfect. Like I'm totally fine with this. Like I know that they nailed the rooted better than I've ever seen any company nail the rooted before. So props to them. But like, I didn't need to get it. It wasn't like I have to have that. So I went with sculpted and saved the money. And but like the base, like for the with the bench and then like the prison cell backing, so like shit is insane. I love it, but they definitely need to figure out how to be more economical with their packaging and stuff, so that people aren't, because you're basically paying for a premium figure. You're paying for like in this case a 2-pack, but then you're essentially paying a hot toy, like a die-cast hot toy value
Price,
in
exactly.
the shipping, like for the packaging.
For the
So they
packaging.
definitely have to figure out how to rein that in and make it more economical so that people can afford the premium product that it already is.
So did you get? So you got the 2-pack or just the?
Yeah, it's the sculpted 2-pack.
Sculpted 2-pack, and it also came with the jail cell.
The jail cell.
Yeah, the bench, right? Okay. And then the jail cell. The
so
wood base,
that's what I'm saying when you think about it, because I didn't really anticipate it once it came in. I saw the box, and I'm like, damn, this shit is huge. It's a big ass box,
and it's an awkward shape too. It's like a triangle kind of thing.
Yeah, right. It's really an awkward shape. You pull it out, the box is heavy as shit. But then when I look inside it, I'm like, there was definitely a better way they could have packaged this thing in a smaller presentation. There's a way they could have done it.
Oh yeah, because the forearms, like they're swapped out.
Yeah,
they're like in these individual crevices that have inches between them. It's like you could have definitely like condensed stuff so that it wasn't like the stuff was so spread out throughout that I'm like, it could have fit in a smaller. I think they basically were just like, we want to spread this out, make it all look really cool. And they were going for presentation. And I get that. And it like for your first release, okay, fine. Because that box is like, it feels like a premium, like, you open it up and you got that like embossed letter and shit in there. It's like, it feels premium. But you can't do that for every single one.
I think they were out of their way to protect the figure. That's probably what they were thinking. Like, because they got to send it all over the place, trying to protect it from whatever kind of.
Well,
But I mean, probably went over the top though.
Their
with
packaging already has more protection than you've ever gotten from a hot toy, because it's like statue packaging, like that, that styrofoam. So,
thank you so much.
All those goodies.
$5 super chat. Irene Tough. Okay, Vinny, why are all your goodies hiding in boxes like Gwyneth Paltrow's head, bro? Bro, like
that's dark.
That's really dark.
I'm rarely speechless.
God damn, we got a good audience tonight, bro.
7. Yo, she came with the heat on that one, bro.
She went with the 7.
So what I was gonna say is
that's hilarious.
I haven't paid off the all-in version of the Batman figure, the Pattinson with the Bruce Wayne and the Bat.
Oh, you got it through InArt?
Hell, well, I got it through Spec Fiction. So
right,
Spec
but you got the InArt.
Yeah.
That's what you said. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I didn't order the Hot Toy one. I went with InArt.
Yeah, I went with InArt. So I got that, but I did it through Spec Fiction. And the thing is, it's like, I don't care about the weight because I know I'll get it whenever it comes. But I didn't have to pay for the shipping because the shipping was free through them. So I was like, all right, cool. I don't have to worry about it.
I ordered
but it's going to be.
I ordered the Iron Man through Spec Fiction. Actually, that's the first time that I've ordered through them.
Yeah.
So this is the funny thing is though. So I think they estimated that the shipping for this Iron Man will be probably around $300 when it comes, because it's a big statue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the shipping for my Endgame cap, the half scale Queen Studios piece, was like $340, $350, right?
Mm-hmm.
People were getting their shipping bill for the that like tweeterhead Joker on throne statue from Sideshow.
Yeah.
They were charging them like $380 for shipping.
Shit. Through Sideshow?
Yeah, that's a quarter scale. My half scale Endgame cap cost less than that.
Hold up, wait.
Yeah, because that cap is nice. You said it cost less than that.
How much?
No, not the actual figure, like the shipping. It was something like $370, $380.
That's bananas, bro. Nah,
the shipping.
Nah,
on that,
it's a quarter scale statue.
Yeah, it's big because he's on this like big throne, this like chair and stuff. So it is bigger than your normal quarter scale, but it's still a quarter scale.
No, I'm not doing that.
My the end game cap was like 100 pounds, like shipping weight and stuff. It's like 80 something, I think, the statue itself, then the base and like the packaging and stuff. And yeah, through Sideshow, it was like $370, $380 for
no way,
like shipping that thing across country.
Hell no.
And I'm like, tell me that somebody's not inflating those shipping costs a little bit.
That's what it sounds like.
That's definitely what it sounds like they're doing, bro. Because that's too much damn money. Hell no.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Too much.
Meanwhile, and so people were the other third scale piece. One of the third scale pieces that I have coming is the special art Batman, which was it's basically like the concept design for the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And it comes with like 3 different swap out head sculpts. One is kind of supposed to be Robert Pattinson, but it's not really. Then there's a Jim Lee one, and then there's a third one. That piece, people were getting their shipping notices from Prime 1 for that. And if you went with like the economy, which is like the slow, probably maybe take like a month or whatever, it was like $400. And if you went with like the premium, the faster shipping, it was like $750.
What scale is that?
1/3.
Oh, okay.
It was like people were saying you were paying between $400 and $750 for shipping, right? When and they were getting hit with that bill. Meanwhile, I ordered mine through Marcos at Collector's Own, and I had a big discount code, so I got a bunch of money knocked off of it, and then because tax and shipping were included in his like price when he did it, I locked that in, and I'm not paying anything extra for shipping whenever mine's not ready yet, but whenever it does ship, I'm free and clear. While other people are getting $700 bills to ship their statues.
Smacked by Sideshow.
No,
Well, no, that's actually directly from Prime One for people who ordered for that piece.
Yeah, I'm
for
not
the, for the,
No,
the
I'm not doing
Batman
that.
piece.
I'm not doing that.
But it's like, you know, I mean, I'm not getting any kickback or anything, but like I said, going through Marcos or Collector's Own for big statues like that, you lock in a decent shipping rate, and then you don't get hit with that bill, you know, a year from now. It's like, because if you just paid like, you know, $1,500 for a statue, and then you get hit with a $700 shipping fee at the end.
Yeah, nah, bro.
That shit's crazy.
Hey, Peter Pacheco, Sanctorum, comic book Sanctorum says it all.
Yep.
If you know, you know. It says it all.
I ordered one piece from them, and that was it.
What was from Comic Sanctorum?
So he basically he ordered the third-party Juggernaut. And the shipping was more than the figure on sale unit was like $120.
That's crazy,
bro. $130.
That's another figure.
Normally, it's crazy when the shipping is more than the
yeah, man.
Itself. There are some circumstances. It shouldn't be that case with a hot toy. With a third-party figure, sometimes third-party figures are like dirt cheap, right? And like that's kind of one of the benefits of them because they're unlicensed, and so they're not charging as much. And for a juggernaut, like a big son of a bitch like that, I could see if they're doing a deep discount, I could see where the shipping would end up actually being more. That doesn't mean that they didn't necessarily inflate it more than it needed to be.
Yeah.
But I could see if they just want to get rid, because that piece also takes up a lot of space in their storage, in their warehouse. So they want to get that thing out of there. So it makes sense to me that the shipping in that case could actually be more. How much more is up for debate.
Yeah,
they probably did jack it up.
They hit them over the head for $130.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just there's no insight into that.
Yeah,
that we don't like, and that's the thing. Eventually at some point it has to course correct, and the cost of shipping will start to come down. But the base price, what we're like now, just kind of that's the new norm, is like whatever the increase on statues and whatever scale, hot toys, things like that. The actual price of the collectibles, when that goes up, it stays up. Like that's not coming back down. So that's the new norm now. The only hope is that eventually the shipping comes down.
Yeah. Yeah, screw that though. I'm definitely not going that way.
If I get something, bro, I got my boy shot. I'm not getting that shit.
I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Anyway, let me address the chat real quick. We got a couple people. We got Irene Jobs in here. Thank you for being here. Romy One Kenobi is in here, my bro. Renz Talentino, the great Renz Talentino is in here. Yuli, the second kid, is here. We got Calvin Low Key. Calvin, their collectors in here. Thank you for being here, my bro. Who else? We got Chuck G is in the building. Peter Pacheco. We got Thomas Brown is in here. My baby Latoya T. Thank you for being here. She's basically watching to make sure I ain't buying nothing else. We got Mike Rodriguez in the building. Who else have we got here in the building with us? Thomas Brown. He said that. Who else is in here with us? We got Bindu Windu in the building. Thank you for being here. We got Mark 51st Collectible, aka AB, is thank you for being here, my bro. Who else do we got here with us? Kate Card is in the building. Thank you for being here, bro. As always. Who else do we actually got in the building with us? I thought I saw Mark 7, but I didn't. And Two Ferns is in here. Thank you for basically being here with us, man, as always. So appreciate that. Mitchell Lawrence is in here. Thank you for being here as always. So we're going to definitely dive in. What's happening? London, UK, up in this. Yes. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here, my man. As always. So we're going to actually go into the artist rendition. Gil Kane. A lot of people don't really know or probably know him as an artist. Not too many people do. You've probably seen his work and passed it off as being someone else's because, as we know, there are similar styles when it comes to collecting, but they have like a certain thing that's kind of unique with it. Sometimes when you look at the color palette, I know like the color palette with some people's work, it's like, it's almost, you can sort of look at it and be like, well, it's almost on the same. But then again, his art and the artist that he aligns himself with, it becomes something totally different, and his shading is slightly different, but still good. He's known for like some of his runs with Avengers, Spider-Man, also Captain Marvel. He's done some stuff for like Green Lantern. He's done a couple of Superman covers. He's
He
also done,
co-created the modern age Green Lantern.
exactly.
And many of the co-stars like Sinestro and
Yep.
Guy Gardner
Yep.
also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Iron
Mhm.
Fist, Adam Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a
Definitely,
hand in a lot of
definitely.
creation.
He got his hands
Morbius,
on a lot of stuff, man. He did
Morbin
like
time,
what'd you say?
Morbin time, Morbius.
Morbid time. Morbius definitely got runs in that. Iron Man specifically as well. He's done a couple Tarzan runs. He's done a couple of different things, but
He
his work
also
is
did a handful of Daredevil right before Frank Miller took over.
What the hell?
is that you, bro?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. My phone went off. I'm sorry about that, man.
That's all
Don't
right.
kill me, y'all.
That's all right. But definitely, man, like I said, he's done a couple of different runs. It's crazy, like again, like that vintage, and I don't know about y'all, but like I'm always basically a fan of just like the runs that are sort of like I want to say like the saturation of colors. And what I mean by that is like the saturation of colors, but then also those colors that blend off in the shading, how well it's actually done. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
like when I look at this, it's just like pure nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like those artists that bring you back to that level of nostalgia. I'm gonna start with you, first Jedi Pimp. You know what I mean? Comes to Gil Kane, his influences on like some of your stuff, like just collecting some of the comics. What you think, bro?
I think for guys like Guy Gardner and freaking the color schemes for the Spider-Man and the Atom, man, it's like old school nostalgia going to get comic books from 7-Eleven with my pop. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep,
just
yep.
the way he draws,
Sorry,
it
bro.
takes you back, man. It's getting a Slurpee in a comic book back in the day, bro. It's just it takes you back the way his artwork is, bro. That 70s, 80s vibe, it's a great time in comics, man. Especially growing up learning how to collect and learning how to read from the comic books, man, from back in the day, man. It just takes you back to a nostalgic era of artwork and presence in books that, I mean, we still may have it now, but not. I mean, back then it was always that they had that wow factor with colors and how the drawings were back in the day, man. It's just a different vibe, yo.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, bro. Like it's a different vibe, and I want to bring this one up. Brendan, I'm gonna go to you. I want to bring this one up because I remember, and they don't again because we have evolved.
They don't draw like that no more, man.
But here's the thing, like, bro, like, and that's what the dope part of it was. It's like when you see stuff like this, you used to always see like the Holly, exposed, like the heads were always around.
The heads.
Like,
Yeah.
like that's what was so memorable about like some of these runs, like the heads, like the story of the cover, like it. Put it this way, you didn't have to know really what was inside the book, and this is like. And it's crazy because Vinny, I'm gonna get to you like too after Brendan, because it's like if you are a comic book reader and a cinematic, universe, you love the cinematic universe. If you don't, if a person like Vinny who doesn't watch trailers, then it's like you almost don't want to look at the covers because the covers are gonna tell you what's inside the actual book.
Was it me or was like all the comic books back in the day? They made you want to read them because it was always foreshadowing on the front cover.
Yeah,
it was like
nowadays it's rare. Nowadays the cover is cool art. And back in the day, it used to be like
foreshadowing or what's going to happen in the book.
Or a fake out. It'd be like some shit that really didn't even happen in the book, but
the cover was always like back then, and Gil Kane was good for this too. I mean, a lot of artists were back then, but that was more the norm back in like the Silver Age, especially where the covers would be, if not like a page, like a panel, like directly out of the interior of the book and of the plot, it would basically be something that would not necessarily be actually happening in the book, but it would give the vibe and the sense of what is going to happen in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You'd have like a standoff between two characters, between like Batman and Riddler or something like that on the cover of a DC book, and that wasn't necessarily actually gonna that exact depiction and the dialogue that they use on the cover, that kind of like cheesy one-liners and stuff, wasn't necessarily going to be word for word and ink for ink in the book, but it was like, okay, this book is about Batman going head to head with the Riddler, or Wonder Woman, and and Cheetah. So it wasn't like today you don't usually get, like, it's more like an artist interpretation of a character, but it doesn't always have anything to do with the interior of the book and the plot. The A cover tends to, at least somewhat, but not always these days. But then, like, all the different variant covers, more often than not, it's just they go to an artist and say, okay, do us a cool Spider-Man cover, or do us a cool and sometimes they'll do something original, sometimes they'll homage fucking ASM 300, because that hasn't been homaged 8,000 times already. Actually, that's low. It's probably way more than that. But yeah, so you got that sense, almost kind of like a trailer for a movie, like you said, that front cover. I always, Gil Kane is one of those guys who, even kind of casual comic book fans will know the names Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but and Ditko, and then you get into like the Jim Starlins and Al Milgrams and stuff like that. Gil Kane is one of those guys that people don't recognize the name as much or think about the artist as much, but they've seen a shit ton of his art.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like the comic version of Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. It's like,
It's like everybody knows
that
his stuff,
movie and
but
that
they might
show
not know
and
his
this
name.
like,
I know who he is.
He's there. His fingerprints are on these books. But people aren't thinking, oh shit, yeah, he created the modern Green Lantern and Atom and Iron Fist and and stuff like that. People aren't really kind of thinking of that because it's not as sexy as a lot of the other kind of legendary artists and creators and stuff. But like I said, he actually did some really cool issues of Daredevil featuring Bullseye right before Frank Miller came on as the artist, because Gil Kane also, he was prolific. He would bounce around to do a lot of different books and a lot of different characters. And he did some really cool, gritty artwork for Daredevil that was really cool. But then he left, and then Roger McKenzie was taking over the stories. And, you had like Klaus Janson and stuff there. But like Miller hated those, hated the all of the stories that McKenzie was doing, but not having Gil Kane still there because he went off to something else, it opened the door for Frank Miller for them to be like, okay, well, we're probably going to be canceling Daredevil anyway, so you can take over on the art and the writing for a while. And then he started working with Klaus Janson. So Gil Kane was actually kind of like that predecessor right before that Miller and Janson era. Which is, again, one of the things that I really remember him for, because he did really, really good artwork on Daredevil right up until Miller kind of like stepped in.
I mean, look at these covers, man. They all just pull you right in, bro. Like, that's just the biggest sales pitch ever. That's all that action in the front cover, and you get bubbles to read before you even open the book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome, man.
His cover, like the stuff that he did with Daredevil, was in like I think it was like 141, and then he did like 146 to 149. And like Miller came in at like 158, so it was like right up until then. But like, I loved the way he approached Bullseye. Yeah, I think, and I like the way he did villains too. The way he he drew Sinestro and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's one of those ones where people don't recognize like, oh, that's like people like I said, you know, like, oh, that was Ditko, that was Kirby or something like that. I feel like Gil Kane's style isn't, people don't necessarily look at it and be like, oh, that's Gil Kane. They look at it and they're like, oh, that's like Silver and Bronze Age classic, because that's what his style was. It was just what we've come to know as classic now.
Yeah, and that's when I look at this is crazy, because I think of like the translation in the cinematic universe. And we know that the cinematic universe is going for more casual fans. So they have a tendency to kind of divert away from, you know, these type of looks. And I'm like, well, how do you know? Because in my eyes, like, okay, you give us, you know, your rendition of Spider-Man. And there's no way for us, you can't actually put him in like this overly bulked out suit, whatever, because of how agile he is as a character.
Exactly.
And when you think about it, so is Daredevil. You know what I mean? So it's like, when I look at these covers, I'm like, yo, I always look at it like, these are the suits that I literally want to see in live action. Now I understand we can't get it because a lot of people would say it would look stupid in live, but like, how do you know?
Well, but that's what Alex Ross said.
I've been saying that for
Alex
years.
Ross was like, why are we putting all the X-Men in like black leather, you know, onesies?
The greatest
shit? Like, just
Batman
let them.
suit that I've ever seen in live action is Batman Dead End, a fan film where he's wearing spandex and it's fucking perfect.
Yeah, it's like, how do we know? How do you know that they won't receive it well unless you do it? So you're going off of your own insight interpretation of this character.
Oh, it looks stupid. It looks stupid.
Every single superhero has to look like his costume's made out of basketball rubber.
I hate that, dude.
And look, there's a world that like that you can absolutely have the Nolan trilogies and the Matt Reeves Batmans and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that we can't also have the more traditional classic,
the gray and blue,
comic book style suits. When you think about like, you know, statues and you know, figures and art prints and stuff that we get, it's like, yeah, there's stuff obviously tied to, you know, Hot Toys is usually like tied to movies and stuff, but we also love the third party, you know, like the So Toys Gambit and Rogue and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
So as comic book fans and collectors and people who are going to see these movies too, we want to see those classic, just like, I want to see a comic book on TV. It doesn't have to be, you know, some crazy updated, like mechanical or tactical kind of suit. Just, that's why, like I said, as much as I love the Netflix Daredevil show and Charlie Cox in that role, and I would have loved to keep him in that role, but give him a more traditional suit than, like you said, like the agility of like a Spider-Man or something like that. It's like the stuff that Daredevil does in the comics, you can't really do in the suit that Charlie Cox did. It's more like a motorcycle kind of suit. Like Ant-Man's suit looked cool, but it was like a motorcycle. Like he can't like really move and fight in that.
I mean, when you imagine how you look, like how it feels when you're basically wearing a leather jacket, and how constricting that is. Sometimes
you lose so much motion, range of motion. You lose
like you can't put your hand behind your head in a leather jacket. Like you can't. So it's so restricted unless you have like that soft lambskin or whatever. You know what I mean? You can't.
Charlotte.
Yeah, like a shirt. Like you can, but you know, even that with the wool and everything inside the lining, you can't really do.
Still lose motion.
So I'm like, who in the costume department thought that, or even in development was like, yo, this is basically the better rendition. This is what we can basically do.
Let's put them all motorcycle suits.
Yeah,
but they're also the ones that we want to see, and any of the general movie going audience that
we want to see that,
like,
bro.
Oh, that suit looks ridiculous or whatever, and they want the more updated stuff. The bottom line is, if they tell good stories, the audience will be like, all right, whatever, I don't care about this suit because this is a cool fucking story. You know, so we can have both. They just are hesitant to do, you know, those classic suits.
And even not to divert, but I went in to see Guardians with a clean slate, but to see them all in that classic like Guardians of the Galaxy uniform from the comics, bro, I was like, damn, finally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It looks good on film.
We gonna get to that because I had.
It
Yeah, we'll
looks
get to
good.
that.
Yeah.
So
Vinny, your thoughts on
Mhm.
Gil Kane and basically his run and just as an artist, even from like an artist standpoint, when you're looking at this, because a lot of our influences, a lot of artist influences, when you're looking at it from that standpoint, was inspired by this stuff.
right,
Coming up, it was like, okay, I don't want to necessarily draw like that. I want my own interpretation. But starting out, we were copying what we saw until
Mhm.
we actually developed our own interpretation. And so now I was like, yo, I get it. Not everything has to look directly like this, but this cover, because it's so dope, the
yeah,
shading itself on Rhino, the bright colors, like this is the bright colors of Spider-Man that I'm so used to. You know what I
yes.
mean? And that I love so much. But yeah, Vinny, like you're like when you see stuff like this, like what are your thoughts, bro?
Well, like we touched on it a little bit. This wasn't someone who was super flashy and tried to reinvent the wheel. He had a very traditional style and of that era. Like there wasn't a lot of guys back then who were trying to like stand out from the pack. It was a lot of status quo type of art back in the day. There was this type of style that editors wanted to see, and the guys like Gil Kane, like your Neil Adams, they had a very clean, semi-realistic style, and what set them apart from each other was just the dynamic compositions of their pieces, colors, arrangements, and stuff like that. So I feel like while his art was clean and always visually appealing, I think what set him apart from a lot of the other run of the mill artists in his era and puts him up there with some of the bigger names, yet not getting as much credit as him is his creative aspect. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've touched on it a bunch. Like he's created a lot of very memorable characters that are still some of the biggest names in industry today, and obviously in modern age like Hal Jordan and then he had a lot of input all over the place. Like he bounced around a lot, and one of the cool things about him is back in the day, there used to be artists who would moonlight for other companies, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't allowed to. So they would use pseudonyms. So he went by like Scott Edwards when he drew for Marvel when he was working at DC. And he was the first one to just go by Gil Kane while still working at DC because there was no contracts. It was just like taboo.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like he wasn't allowed to. It was just like you, if you were going to do it, you weren't going to like advertise it that was you. So he did that, and he worked on Hulk, co-created Abomination, and then he took over after John Romita and working on Amazing Spider-Man. He came up with some groundbreaking stories that he doesn't really get much credit for. Like he was one of the first creators to buck the Comics Authority code, and
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with the
they did a
drug abuse
story. Him and Stan Lee did
thing.
a story about drugs. And back in the day, you weren't even allowed to do a positive or like drugs are bad type story. You weren't allowed to mention drugs, and they
Mm-hmm.
did. And it was so well received. The authority code like revamped their rules to make it just negative connotations about drugs that that you just couldn't like advocate them, but you could make stories saying that they were bad. And then he was, of course, part of the legendary Death of Gwen Stacy storyline. He was part of so many different, important moments in comics. And he's like this, I don't know, he's like this blip where like he's a lot of fans know him and a lot of things that he's done, but he's not necessarily a household name to like the average Joe. Even maybe like a casual collector. Like he's not the first name you think of when you think of iconic artists, but yet he's done so many memorable, projects and been involved in so many things. Like it's like again, it's not just how Jordan. Like he was part of creating Sinestro and Guy Gardner,
Mm-hmm.
and
Guy Gardner. Yeah.
he did like you said Iron Fist, and
Mm-hmm.
and so many different characters, and that's to me a big part of his strength as an artist too. Like he came with a lot of creativity and not just drawing what the writer told him. He was a big collaborator, and back in the days, that was a huge part of the of the process. Like, there's artists who just like, oh, here's the line, I draw the thing, and then that's it. And then back in the day, there was a lot of creation going on especially during the golden silver age of comics, where there were so many new stories, new characters that are still iconic today being created. He was a big part of that, so he's definitely made a ton of contributions to the industry.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And which, it's just looking through it, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring him up, because it is like just legendary how he's touched so many different runs, IPs, like a lot of things that we're familiar with, that we love, that we're attached to. And, like, Brendan said, the golden age back then, of comics, like Jason said, going to like your average 7-Eleven and just picking them up off the newsstand, a rotating metal thing that you just flip around. You got to find your actual covers. The books were always next door to the Playboy magazines and Hustlers, so you would just get your comics and act like you wasn't looking over there, but you were.
Yeah,
but you was looking on that rack and you was just swiping around. That was before the butt naked Sour Patch Kids. But my point is,
always had those fucking magazines in the damn plastic, though.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Only see the cover.
Yeah.
Only see the cover.
7-Eleven, boy. 7-Eleven. You go in there.
That's the origin of the term dick tease.
Yeah. You go in there, see your comics on a little spinner rack, but then to the side.
Back when you had to
bottom row. Right.
Back when you had to work for that content. You had to squint on us 10.
Right.
You had to look at those books.
You had to squint.
There's none of this.
The squiggly line channel. Yeah. You go to that rack with the spinning comics.
You had to go in on the sly, and you had to sneak into your dad's collection when he wasn't home.
Yeah. In that shoebox. Under the bed.
Yeah. That's hell yeah. My pops. He wasn't having that. In that household, it was just kind of totally different. But
they had that shoebox hidden.
Yeah, right.
He thought it was
That's
hidden.
what he wanted you to believe.
Yeah, he thought it was hidden. That shoebox.
Yeah, trust me. For him,
because if a kid finds them, what's his old man gonna do?
He can't even be mad. He wasn't mad at me.
Yeah, ground me. I'll tell mom.
Yeah. He wasn't mad at me. Like, you know what, son? Congratulations, you're a man.
Snitches. Snitches.
You better keep that subscription active, and I won't say anything.
Right.
especially Hustler back then, boy.
You sound too convincing, like you had something over Pops back then, bro. You were living something that happened.
Listen, Hustler was the truth back then.
Hell yeah. Anyway, anybody out there, you've probably been familiar with his work, Gil Kane. Make sure you actually go out there, look up some of his work. Always contribute to like some of our classic heroes. He passed away, I think, in the year 2000, I believe.
Yeah, 23 years ago.
Yeah. But basically, again, prolific artist, very basic contributions, incredible. Always the greats that pass on.
That Magneto was so dope.
Hell yeah, definitely it is. So go out there and get your books, if you haven't, and check out this artist. So I want to move on to this again. We didn't get a chance to kind of cover it, but going into the new phase of everything and where we are right now, it's kind of good to have something as a positive note. But there's a lot to kind of digest about this, and we're talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, again, people out there, if you haven't seen this film, you already know what time it is. If you hear, it's gonna get spoiled the shit out of. So I don't know what y'all waiting on. Then maybe you shouldn't even be here. But we're gonna spoil the shit out of this one because there's a lot to talk about. Did it live up to expectations? Did we love it? Did we hate it? Are there certain things? How did it basically evolve, and where did James Gunn take this? And what we say this is part of the most successful trilogy that Marvel, or the MCU has released. We're gonna talk about that, but we're here. Like, definitely, it was released. Vinny, we went to see it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. We had a ball while we were there, the whole way through. And bro, like, my biggest thing was I didn't anticipate how I was thinking about this, and I was talking to Toya about this on the way home. Did we see the possibility of Rocket Raccoon? Right now, we this story followed him, and he was basically the central character of it in his story, his background. Did Bradley Cooper pull off almost damn near an Oscar-winning performance with that thing, bro? As far
Oh
as the
yeah,
emotions,
yeah,
because
definitely.
I was all the way in, tearing up the entire time through it, the
Yeah,
entire time with this raccoon, bro, and
Yes,
it was just so emotional. But it was a well done story,
yeah.
absolutely.
beginning to end. I loved it.
You know, if Peter give her actor props, then he did good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, bro.
it was
Peter went crazy over this movie. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of movies that I enjoy for different reasons, whether it be the action of the movie or the special effects or the source material of the original comics or whatever.
mhm.
And I don't know that there's too many comic book films that I enjoy for the list of reasons, having the top reason being the way it emotionally hit me. And
Mhm.
that's pretty impressive for a comic book film, because that's something usually reserved for like a drama or whatever. But it it delivered absolutely every emotion
Mhm.
from beginning to end, from the way it opened with Rocket to the way it ended with them
Uh-huh.
partying. It hit every beat,
Mhm.
absolutely every beat. The music that they integrated into this was phenomenally, you
Mom.
know,
Yeah.
placed
Mhm,
throughout. It was just incredible. I mean, the action
mhm,
obviously was off the charts. The
mhm,
story was great.
mhm.
The pacing was perfect. It got to do something that very few Marvel films get to do, and that is like wrap it up. Like
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
many Marvel films have that kind of like
Open-ended
crutch of that
ending.
they have to keep going because it's an
Mhm.
open universe, and it's very rare
Mhm.
that we get to see like a bookend or like
Mhm.
a beginning, middle, of end story in
Mhm.
Marvel, because they're all meant to just keep going and going and going. And
Mhm.
it's definitely, I believe it's my favorite Guardians film, and it's
Mhm.
now up there with the top Marvel films that I've seen. Period. And I think that Bradley Cooper definitely did just a phenomenal job as Rocket, and an incredible villain. You had incredible, you had great jokes too. And I always love like, the Guardians goes out of the way to like, the jokes always feel fluid, like they don't come to a screeching halt to tell you a punchline and just
Mhm.
like take you out of the context. Like they don't, it doesn't ever feel really forced. But I just love the shit out of this film. Like I just was just noticing like there'd be moments while I was watching it and I'm just like, this is just so good. Like
Mhm,
as you're watching it, you're like outside of yourself, realizing like this, we're witnessing something special. You know how sometimes you could tell in the moment, and I feel like that was the case. And I don't know how much of that is the fact that we've had a lot of ups and downs with the MCU in the past
Mhm.
couple of
Mhm.
years. So that way, when something hits, it fucking really hits, because we've been kind of desperate for the old school way that Marvel films used to
Used to
feel
be.
for all of us. But this was ode to that. This felt like how we left the theater the way we used to leave the theater coming out of a Marvel movie, just
Mhm.
super excited, can't wait to see what they did next, and super talking about, like, we've left Marvel movies where we're like, okay, so, and then we're talking about something else for a minute, and then but we left this one just talking about all the shit we liked from this movie for like a good half an
mhm,
hour. Like that's a testament to like how great they did. They you know
mhm.
it's a shame that they played around with Gunn over that Twitter shit, because this should have came out a while ago. Obviously, for most people, the only downside was how they had to try to handle and force Adam Warlock into the story. He was definitely out of
Mhm,
place,
mhm,
and I took it as like, if this is the one like black guy on the film, it does so many other things perfectly that I
Mhm.
forgave it, because Drax isn't Drax either. and I'm
No.
still able to enjoy these films. So, Warlock being Warlock is just, it is what it is. I knew going into it that we weren't going to get Adam Warlock fighting Thanos 3-4 years ago like we should have, but he's here now, and they have to figure out how to have someone who's basically a Superman type fit in with just, not Superman level characters, and how to do it. And they did it in a way that they thought was best, and just having him not quite be emotionally, complete, I guess, to explain away him not being Adam Warlock. It was a bit fumbled. It was a bit weird, but again, like, they did so many other things home run level that I was okay with that. I just kind of like let it slide, and he did have cool parts in the film, but it's Adam Warlock, so we know what he should and could be. But everything else, fucking aces. Like Drax in this film was perfect. Nebula was perfect. Mantis, Peter, serious and like dead serious, not playing around anymore mode was absolutely incredible in a way that wouldn't have been if he wasn't a goofball over so many films. And it nailed it home just how much that they were cared about each other now. And I really love again, spoilers, but too late now, the I love you guys from Groot. And at first, I didn't really think of it when we were in the theater. I was just like, that's weird. And then later, I read somebody say something before I even really thought about it. It's just, it's that we're now part of the family. So now we understand
Groot.
Like they didn't learn his language. It's like that's the thing. If you're part of his family, you love him, you're around him enough. It's like your brain,
automatically knows what he's saying.
It was crazy because when I saw this scene at first and he said it, I was like, oh, well, we kind of knew that eventually. But you're right. It was like James Gunn said, okay, you guys out in the audience have been following this film the entire time. And none of you have known what this person has said or what so because you're invested in it now, you out there can understand language.
Now,
now, exactly,
and they played it up perfectly with Gamora saying, "You guys are just making up shit that he's saying, right?" Like,
no, we're not.
Because it's like a running joke in all the films that it's kind of like Chewbacca, where like Han Solo just responds to him. It's like, do you speak Wookiee, or are you just pretending? It's like when a baby talks and you have a fake conversation with it. Yeah, tell me more. Like,
it's like when they do like their movies, like you have like the Three Musketeers or something. You're like, but why is everybody talking in an English accent? They should be French and stuff. And they're kind of saying like, no, they are speaking French. It's just you as the audience are
know that
immersed in it. It's just you're supposed to understand French for this. Like, but they are speaking.
Your brain is,
and it's the same thing. It's like we're now like we spent so much time with them. We're pulled in, and it's not all of a sudden Groot learned how to say something more than I am Groot.
He's still saying I am Groot.
In the comics, he has at some points, but he still said I am Groot. It's just we heard the translation.
So now we're in the family.
Characters heard. We just got to do it for the first time in that.
And I didn't think of it that way because at first it didn't dawn on me like Vinny said until we left. I was like, oh,
why I peeped it because like when he said it, nobody else was shocked that he said I love you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
they weren't like, holy shit.
Right. So I'm like, so that's us understanding him saying
that's
I am
us
Groot.
finally understanding that and what
we learned how to speak Groot.
Exactly. It was. It was definitely beautiful. Brendan, like when you seen it, because again, we talk about it time and time again. It's the only criticism that I always give it is like, again, what we have been saying earlier on with like the first two films and also his depiction of Drax, even in the MCU, was like he was this big dumb oaf. And
he's not
like he wasn't, and definitely not, and that he was just, he was kind of meaningless at some point. And this one we saw a transition, but now we're going to Adam Warlock. You know what I mean? And we're seeing this character's journey. So what were your thoughts, bro?
So I loved the movie. So my best friend was in town and stayed with us for like a week, and I picked my oldest up from school, and then the three of us, my daughter and my buddy, we went and we saw it like that afternoon that it came out. It was like a 3:00 showing. We're like right at the theater. And we all loved it, and it was, and he's not a comic book guy too, so like he only knows anything about these, and he asks me like what the connection is between different MCU movies and stuff like that because he doesn't follow it that closely, but he enjoys them when he watches them. Mm-hmm. And so we all enjoyed it. My only two criticisms were one. Adam Warlock, yeah, it just wasn't Adam Warlock, and he also, I feel like he was more like, because he was teased in Guardians 2, they're like, well, we got to pay that off in the next one. So they did, but they didn't really have, I think, a great way to do it because you could take him out of the movie entirely and just cause Rocket to be injured some other way. Mm-hmm. And the movie doesn't change. Mm-hmm. Adam Warlock was not critical to this story. That's a positive and a negative. It's a negative in the sense that we didn't get an Adam Warlock that we would have preferred, but it's a positive in the sense that because he wasn't really so central to the movie, it didn't really detract from the enjoyment of the movie. Mm-hmm. So it was like, all right, that wasn't Adam Warlock, but I can live with it. The only other problem that I had, where the fuck was Quill's mask, his helmet?
Yeah, because he didn't lose
literally
it.
Toward the end of the movie, the scene where he's like dying,
he almost
out
died.
In space,
Right.
He had the solution to that in the previous two movies because that's how he fucking saved Gamora when they were floating out in space.
Right.
But just all of a sudden, he doesn't have the boosters on his boots and he doesn't have his mask that would have completely saved him.
I wondered
Apparently,
that too.
Gunn said that he left it on nowhere because he was in a rush to leave, and he really actually wanted him to not have the mask after 2, but they put it in Infinity War without his, consent.
But like in that case, just like rather than because then you have to say, he was in a rush to leave and so he didn't bring it with him. But we as the audience don't know that until
we look for that.
That sounds like you're trying to make an excuse for it. They should have shown the mask get damaged or something.
That's like Captain America with no shield,
and then he can't use it. Yeah,
right.
But again, small gripe. It was more just one of those little plot holes that you're like, you should suspend disbelief. I'm watching a fucking comic book movie anyway, so you got to do a certain amount of that. So I really enjoyed the movie. I thought James Gunn did a great job. I love that Nebula and Mantis really got to shine in this film because those are two insanely talented actresses. And I love what they were able to do with that. I think that for me, this movie, better than Guardians 2. I still think I like Guardians 1 a little bit more just because of the way that first movie hit. I'd have to rewatch both of them back to back now and see if that still holds or if it's just the kind of like me remembering the feeling of being surprised at how good that first Guardians movie was. And now that we know they can do a really good Guardians movie, it's not as impactful maybe the third time around. I don't know. But I do like it better than the second one, not quite as much as the first one. But I think it's a really, really good movie. Way better movie-going experience than Quantumania for sure.
Hell yeah.
I know a lot of people have been talking about, is this like the best of the MCU trilogies? I actually don't think it is. Just my personal taste.
Like top 5.
I enjoy it. But for me, I think the Spider-Man trilogy of Homecoming, No Way Home, and
that's number 1.
Homecoming,
I didn't like
Far From Home, and No Way Home is better. But for me, my favorite trilogy in the MCU is First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and Civil War. I just think those are just the pinnacle.
They're perfect.
For me. But that's also because Winter Soldier is very much my style of movie in general. But yeah, I do feel like, you know, those movies, I think, encompass everything I love about what I like to read in comics, from that classic Cap story in First Avenger to that more Ed Brubaker kind of like political thriller style for Winter Soldier. And then I loved the Civil War event in the comics. And while this was not obviously exactly that, the inspiration was there, and I felt the pulse of that type of comic book in what we got with Civil War the movie. So for me, those two as trilogies, I think, elevate above Guardians. But I absolutely love the whole Guardians trilogy, and I think this movie was really, really well done, and we'll get into it, in a little bit as we move forward. But I have been perfectly fine with the prospect of James Gunn writing and directing Superman Legacy, and even more so after this movie, because, and obviously they're different characters, and so it's going to be a different mindset that you have to get into. But at the same time, like you guys mentioned before, this was a funny movie. It had great humor in it, but it also had great emotional, dramatic moments in it. And at no point did one encroach on the other. At no point did I feel like, oh man, this would have been a great emotional scene, but they stuck in a cheap joke in there, and it diluted the emotion
way through,
right? And that's the thing that a lot of people have been saying is like, oh, are we going to get a super jokey?
Yeah, we're going to get a Superman movie filled with fart jokes,
because people are thinking Suicide Squad, and you got to remember that Suicide Squad is a very different movie than Guardians, and I think James Gunn has shown that he can do both of those things, and he can adjust when the tone requires certain things. And like I said, at no point did I ever feel in this movie or in any of the Guardians movies that the jokes stepped on the toes of the dramatic moments. And I think that's what you need. You need somebody who can have that balance and let the dramatic moments hit, and then let the levity come in so it's not too dark. And I think James Gunn...
Taika, did you hear that?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
I think James Gunn is
Facts.
poised to do what Taika did not do successfully in Love and Thunder. And so me personally, while I was not down on him doing Superman from the start, I am even more positive about the prospects for that movie now.
I can't say
I think and you hit on a point where, like, I had said in like my review that my MVPs of the film for me personally was Nebula in Mantis, because we saw a side of Mantis that I didn't expect, but I sort of expected, because we saw her growth from Endgame going into like the holiday special and into this, that she was a character that was finding her own. And I think it was mainly a journey for her to find out who she really was and to step into her own. With Nebula, it was also finding a sense of balance and also a level of emotion, not letting her anger get the best of her, but just finding like a level of purpose.
And they were totally linked too. Their growth was so linked, because Mantis basically became the, bickering with her little brother in Drax, but then protective of him the second that Nebula went too far in going at him. And Nebula started to, on her journey, is realizing that, hey, I'm actually a part of this family now, not like, was the case in the previous movies.
Yeah.
And so I got to stop lashing out, because these people are my life, or my family now. And she started coming into her own as a member of the Guardians, rather than just
to see
a Gamora replacement for the time being. So
to see how she cared about Rocket too, man.
Yeah, and that was my point.
That surprised me, bro. The
really
Rocket thing.
Cared about Rocket, but it made sense because of their connection in Endgame.
And it worked on.
And it worked out because you basically got a chance to see that. And I've always loved Nebula's character. I also like the simple fact that with this film, he didn't. this is how smart James Gunn is. He's like, yo, I'm just gonna fuck all y'all up because you're gonna believe something, you're gonna think something that's not gonna happen. And
I'm
he
so
had
glad they
been
didn't.
telling us
I
he
thought Rocket was gonna
didn't.
die.
Well,
Oh no,
that
you talk about something
no,
different. Okay,
I'm talking
Uh-oh.
about with Gamora and
that
Star Lord's
I'm
relationship.
so glad they didn't do it.
I'm
Yeah,
so
I wanted them to
glad
do it. I
that they
wanted to do
didn't
it, but
basically bring them together and that she
mhm,
had her own path and that they had a level of respect. They know he knows it's there and you see something, but they just
mhm.
It was
like,
like a
nah.
happy ending and tragic at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo,
Because
it
they
was
were
like
I
both
wanted him to
accepting
have
it.
that. I
it
wanted
was
him to
like
have that
Team Two.
happiness,
I
but
see
I
now
knew it
why
wasn't
y'all
gonna
bang, but
happen.
it's something that we can never do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just
It
yeah.
was
wait.
No,
like because the thing is when we watch it, it was like you were getting tired of Quill's dependency on that relationship.
Yeah,
He
Yeah,
had to find himself and also not because again, he said he
yeah.
was running. He had been running for so long and latching onto somebody else for support that now he's finding out. And she's like, yo, and she even said it. What are you running away from? Like, you need to actually, what is it that
Well,
I need to
because
give you? Like, what
also
the fuck?
all the loss that Quill's had over it since he was a kid, he's been losing people that he's loved like back to back to
Yeah.
back to
well,
back to
and that
back.
was
And
the whole thing with his grandfather too,
Mhm,
because
mhm.
that was a loss that he was imposing on himself, and
Yeah.
then he, because of the lessons that he learned with the Guardians, he
Mhm,
stopped imposing that loss on himself by going to actually, find his and reunite with his grandfather. So
mhm,
the
mhm.
way they did the these arcs, especially with Mantis, when you think about it,
yeah.
Mantis did not have a lot of screen time to grow as a character.
No.
She was introduced in Guardians 2, and then
Mhm,
she was in Infinity War. Like, she
mhm.
snapped away during Endgame. She had very little screen time,
But
and the journey that she went on, especially to come to full circle in this movie,
mhm.
was done really, really well given the limited time that she was on screen.
You know what
Yeah.
else though with the Christmas special? I know it was kind of it was
Yes, that
corny to
actually,
some
you're right. Yeah,
people,
that helped.
but it was good to see her even with that Christmas special. With her and Drax going away, that growth that she had there, bro, was like she went all the way to Earth to
I
try
think
to satisfy her brother.
that was very much intentional on James Gunn's part to, obviously not everybody that saw Guardians 3 necessarily watched the Christmas special,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but that Christmas special was an hour of
Mantis' growth spurt.
essentially Mantis and Drax
Mm-hmm.
developing this sibling relationship
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
that then continued and paid off and intertwined with Nebula in this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that special was a lot more relevant to the journey on the big screen than I think
Mhm.
most people
the
thought it
special
was
also
going to
helped
be.
set up Cosmo because
Mhm.
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
really like say, okay, here's Bob. They're just like, nah, just put them in it. If they don't get it, they can. That's on them.
Yeah.
You
And
got
Yeah.
to
I
see
like
Howard the
that.
Duck
Sometimes it's
too,
like
which
you
was
don't have to
awesome.
Howard the
be
You
Duck
know what's
playing
crazy?
cards. That was
Because
awesome.
Howard, I mean, James Gunn, because here's the thing, he had said that for the longest time, he had been wanting to do more with Howard that
Mhm.
Marvel put restraints on him and wouldn't let him do. So
Mhm.
he was like, all right, he's just going to keep sliding him in and sort of making him that, he's like, he thought of, Howard the Duck as a Boba Fett type of character, whereas he's there. You always want to know about this character. For the casual fans that don't know, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
why do you keep putting this in here? But for the fans who do know, would like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
we want to see more. We want to see
I
more.
would love for them to do something with Howard the Duck,
Hell
even if it was
yeah,
Mhm.
on
bro.
Disney
I would
Plus.
Mhm.
definitely love for them to do it.
Especially
With Guardians.
if you take some of the funny stuff from his run with Chip Zdarsky,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Chip Zdarsky, if you haven't read his run on Howard the Duck, it's out in omnibus now too.
Mhm.
It is so good. There's like he crossed paths with the Guardians, actually with Rocket a lot,
Mhm.
with She-Hulk, which you could try and do something to salvage, She-Hulk on Disney Plus,
God.
with
Oh
Howard.
God.
But then
Yeah.
there's a whole storyline where Aunt May pistol whips Howard the Duck. I'm telling you, man, it's
Mhm.
fucking amazing.
The first one, I remember watching the first one when I was way too young to have been watching the first one, and it would be really interesting if we ever see more live action Howard the Duck. But
Oh, that
I
movie.
can say right now, I guarantee you, we probably won't see any more duck titties.
You're right.
Yeah,
I don't think we will. Well, the
I'd say
one
that-
funny story, when I know you mentioned it, Jason, I fully expected Rocket and Drax to both die.
Yep,
in this
me
movie.
too.
And
Me
he
too.
definitely pulled a rope-a-dope on us.
Huge
We
fake
thought
out.
people were gonna.
Huge
There were
fake
so
out.
many times.
Mhm.
There was that one time toward the end where you thought Rocket, when he was staying with all the other little raccoons, that he was about
Oh,
to
I thought
die.
he was
And I said,
gone.
there was a point where Nebula is up there, like steering
Mhm.
the thing, and you thought, oh, she's gonna die to save everybody. She's gonna stay on the ship. So many times we thought people were gonna die, and then he didn't. And the way they ended it was great, but it was funny because last month, so I got to go to this great comic book show, and then afterward, we got to go to dinner, do this VIP dinner with Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos.
He's so
and
cool, man.
Keith
Oh my
Williams and Al Milgrom,
Cool
right?
cat.
They had this massive ice sculpture of the Infinity Gauntlet
Awesome.
that lit up with like gems, and then Jim Starlin and Al Milgrom stood in front of it, and Jim Starlin like pretended to punch Al Milgrom in the face so people could take pictures of it. It's fucking amazing. But one of the things, Al Milgrom did a ton of work with with Guardians over the years, and so there was this artist there that was doing these comic covers in a mosaic style, and they did a black and white Guardians one featuring Rocket. And so I'm friends with for anybody who collects comics and like buys on either Instagram, whatnot. You probably know Danielle, Nerdy Girl Comics.
Yeah.
So she's a friend of mine, and we were at this, at the show, and she got a bunch of those black and white mosaic covers with Rocket, and then she had Al Milgrom sign them in red Sharpie, so it was like blood, and had him sign his name and then put R.I.P. Rocket. She's like,
oh man,
in case he dies, these are going to be fucking these are going to be a hot book because no one else is going to have these, and it's going to be awesome. She's like, and if he doesn't die, they'll still be kind of cool. They just won't be as cool and as popular.
Yeah.
So obviously he didn't die, but if he did, she had Al Milgrom signing R.I.P. Rocket on those fucking mosaic covers, and those would have been insane.
Listen, man. When I went to go see this movie, I saw it on opening weekend. I saw it on a Sunday, and I went in with like a clean slate because I'm just tired of Disney destroying Marvel films. So I'm like, oh God, I hope this is not garbage. I hope this is not like Thor: Love and Thunder. I kept thinking that. Then I got inside the theater. If you look on my Instagram, you see the video, bro. There was nobody there. Nobody was in the theater but me. I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be fucking horrible. Oh my God. I sit down and watch the movie, bro. And those first couple of minutes when Rocket got hurt on Nowhere, I'm like, oh damn. Is he gonna die? And to see Peter be so serious, to go from being drunk to see his best friend getting hurt. And to see him turn from like, drunken, loathing Peter over still worrying about Gamora and blah, 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 to trying to save his friend. I'm like, oh, I'm all in now. I guess I got to watch the whole movie and see what happens, just from that start, man. I think my two favorites from that movie were seeing the growth of Peter and seeing how he cared about Rocket so much. Like that was like his homeboy. And then when Rocket came out of it, him realizing that he is a raccoon and that he has a new family, which are the Guardians, bruh. Like, I cannot believe I loved the movie, but I had the only issue I had with the High Evolutionary, all his damn screaming, all that damn yelling, like, dude, shut the hell up, Jesus Christ. Other than that, bro,
I thought he did a good job, though.
He did good.
I'm gonna tell you, bro.
He's Shakespearean actor to me.
This is going to be probably subjective, very subjective, and people will probably disagree, and I understand so. But I found him, in all honesty, based off a depiction, I found him more menacing in this film than how they tried to present Kang
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Ant-Man and
yeah.
the Wasp.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
me.
Listen, my only
The
gripe,
acting in Quantumania on Jonathan Majors' part was amazing, but they
the
just
character.
then they had him get his ass kicked by ants.
Yeah, come on, bro. Come on, that's Kang, dog. Like he can erase the ants.
Yeah, High
from
Evolutionary
time.
obviously was different in many ways than
Yeah.
what we're used to,
Yeah,
but it was still done well for what they needed in this movie.
the way he acted as a high evolutionary, like I dug it. But just the part, just the
Screaming.
screaming was just too much. But the acting itself,
Well,
he was dope. Like he's
I was-
a
I
good
was-
actor.
watch that
bro.
actor just be a little bit quieter, Jason. Just go watch Peacemaker, man.
Yeah, Peacemaker, bro. But
You know what? You need to stop that peacemaker shit.
You need to
know
watch
I-
But no, listen, I
He's
was
great
used
in
to the
Peacemaker.
screaming. I was
Yeah,
used to the
true,
screaming.
true,
It was
true.
cool. I was cool with the screaming because,
Mm.
you know, if you have to live in Harrisburg, if you're over Vinny's house, that's how it is when he goes in his room. You just don't know. But anyway,
the
no,
speakers,
like
the speakers.
yeah, because the speaker, like you just don't. He's in that room screaming exactly like that. I don't know why, but it's just that high pitch. So I expect him to scream like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
What happens?
You
when
hear
you
that,
talk.
and you hear a couple of, and then I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, that's what
The
happens when you.
story,
talk.
but bro, that story was dope though. I loved it, man. I had
You know, one of the things that I loved in that, you're a bad dog. You're
oh
a
my
bad dog.
god,
That shit
Take it
was
back.
funny.
that
The
was
way
hilarious.
it was
That
like-
hilarious.
he could have called Cosmo a
Bitch,
guzzling
anything.
and it wouldn't have phased him. But
Nope.
you say you're a bad dog.
She's about to
and
cry,
it
dog.
was like
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
And the way that Sean Gunn's character then just refused to take it back, and throughout the whole movie, that was good.
Now,
That was good.
I love the simple fact that even how, and I was wondering because I said to myself when I was watching like the red carpet event, Michael Rooker was there, and I'm like, well, there's no way that they would actually put him in this film.
that part was dope, bro.
I was like, there's no way they would actually put.
You gotta
and they
fly
did.
with your heart, boy.
Yeah,
That was
like
awesome. Dog.
It was a nice way to kind of
Yeah.
to give a nod to the actor and the
Yeah.
character.
Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah.
he's one of like Michael Rooker is one of James Gunn's best friends.
his best.
Yeah,
So
friend.
I
yeah.
kind of figured that he would have presence, whether it was a flashback or
You gotta fly
you
with
know,
your heart, boy.
something.
That was dope,
Yeah.
dog. That
Even when his
tearjerker.
wife showed up and she got shot in the leg, that shit was funny as fuck. Like I was laughing my
yeah,
ass off.
yeah. My
But
I
it's
hope
still-
that Michael Rooker comes back in another season of What If or something. Like I hope we
Yeah,
get to see him again.
yeah.
Yeah, it
But
was.
you
yeah.
know what, like, annoyed me though, because we're used to the Adam Warlock that we know, right? Just seeing. Well, you know what? I gotta remember, like, he was only what, 2 months old,
Mhm.
or a
He
month
was,
or
he
two
was still
old.
a child.
He was still a kid.
Yeah.
But they had, I think they had the him in there as a super to be able to save Peter, because Peter was dead. So I feel like that was his only. I
Yeah,
guess
but Peter
real,
was only dead because he didn't have his fucking.
he didn't have his
mask
freaking
that
mask.
he had in that
Yeah.
exact same situation.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
First movie.
I was waiting for him to use the force to pull himself back home.
Yeah, his fucking Leia just like float through space. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say the thing is, I don't have anything against the actor Will Poulter.
Nah, he's a
I
good
just-
actor.
From the moment he was announced as Adam Warlock, I was
Yeah.
like, I like that actor. I don't think he's right for the role.
Right.
It's just for me personally, my tastes. I was just not excited about him being Adam Warlock.
Right.
But this wasn't a case of bad acting. He
Right.
did what the character was written to do.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
movie.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't like the writing, but I also just think the casting is off on that.
you know who I always wanted to see when I knew they were going to bring Adam in, who I always wanted to see as Adam, who I thought could portray Adam really decent, Skarsgård.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. I always
Okay.
thought that he could probably portray that role and would kill it. You know what I mean?
To be honest, you
Um,
know what I would see Will Poulter. Obviously, Will Poulter got fucking jacked to be in this
Oh
movie.
yeah, he did. He did.
But if
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't jacked, right? If he was, I don't even remember that movie he did with Jennifer Aniston and what's the name?
Meet the Millers.
Meet the Millers. Yeah.
I think it was like, we're the Millers, meet the Millers, something like
Yeah,
that.
the Millers.
When he
It
was like
worked.
scrawny, I
It
could
wouldn't
see
work.
him as Jimmy Olsen. Back from like back then, not obviously the
Not
version
now.
of today, jacked.
Yeah.
But back then, I could have seen him as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. I just, again, their treatment of him, I think. And the thing is, going into this film, it was kind of hard because we're going into it knowing that what is really his relevance, since it was a missed opportunity
to save Peter.
to, well, yeah, that was it. Like, I mean, and then also James Gunn went on record by saying that he did not like the simple fact that in Endgame, or Infinity War, that they killed Gamora. He didn't like it. He didn't like.
I didn't like that either. I didn't like that either.
Yeah, you know what I mean, he was like, what purpose that made absolutely no sense for y'all to, do it for, his aspect of it. But it is what it is.
I know based on like what he wanted to do, he'd be like, no, don't kill her. But I personally, I didn't have any problems with the way they killed her in Endgame. I thought it made sense.
Yeah, it was.
I did not want her to die. I did not want her to die.
I didn't want her to die, but like to me, it was like it was a worthy death for the character in Infinity
and it served its purpose.
To think about it.
Yeah, it drove the plot forward. It made sense, and you still then had her back in Endgame and stuff. But then it's like that kind of it's like that the comic book kind of trope, or when one creative team is leaving a book and they try and put the character in kind of this predicament that it's like now the next creative team has to come in and figure out how to get out of this box and then and drive it forward. And there's always that fun kind of like, all right, I'm gonna like I bring it back to Daredevil, but like Bendis ended his run with Matt Murdock in prison, and he was like, I said to Brubaker, it's like, you don't mind it? He's like, Brubaker was like, no, do it. I want to figure out how the hell I can get him out, but you do it, like, And so I think that was what like the Russos kind of basically gave James Gunn a challenge of like, okay, now how do I move Gamora's story forward in a way that makes sense? And I think he did a good job because everybody was kind of expecting that, oh, all right, well, eventually she'll just fall back in love with Peter and stuff. And it's like, you got to realize that like his Gamora is dead. It's not like time traveled and she just forgot or something. The Gamora that he fell in love with doesn't exist anymore. This is a different character. And I think it was ballsy for him to keep her that way.
But you know what? It's like I'm probably the only one on this panel that wanted them to figure out some way for them two to get back together. I
did too. I was rooting for them.
Yeah, I wanted it.
But I think that he made the right choice.
I'm so
because without it, he would have had the growth maybe.
I'm so glad they didn't. Here's the thing.
Definitely wanted it.
I'm glad they didn't, but he left the door open. He left the opportunity for something like that to happen again. So the thing is, we saw that in the very end. We saw that there was an opportunity or an inkling that, okay, now she understands his connection to his family, also understanding that his love actually for her. You see that there's potential there, but they didn't dive into it, and that's what I was having.
But the ending that they did give us between those two characters is also proof that sometimes what we as fans want isn't always what's best for the story. We want characters to end a certain way, but the story is better that way.
Because they put them in situations where they reenacted the reasons why Gamora like eventually caved and fell for him in the first movie. Because it was the same thing in the first movie where she thought he was an idiot, and then eventually he won her over by
he is a leader.
He is a leader. And she went through the same thing, and she was like, "Oh, okay, I get how other me could have fell for him, but nah."
For people who enjoyed this movie too, and you just have enjoyed James Gunn's Guardians, trilogy in the MCU, they just restarted a new volume of Guardians of the Galaxy in Marvel Comics, and issue 2 comes out this week. So there's only one issue so far, and the first issue was really fucking good, and it's got a very like spaghetti Western vibe, like Western movie kind of vibe. It's really, really cool. There's only one issue so far. So you're not like far behind. So if you're looking for a jumping on point for Guardians, this is a good time to do it, because the way the story that they told in that first issue was really good and sets up a really cool arc coming. So the second issue comes out Wednesday this week. So if you want to get your Guardians on, maybe pick up that first issue and then jump in this week.
And then I don't know. I guess about the story, man. I guess I'm old school when it comes to stuff like this, man. Like, I guess the perfect ending for me would have been like them, her like breaking down and finally being like, okay, let me give this idiot a try. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm so
I don't
glad they
know.
didn't.
I think the door is
so
open.
glad
It's still
they
open
didn't.
for that because I think she was feeling him at the end, but when she went off, even when she left the Starjammer.
So glad they did not go down that road because the thing is, I didn't. And the reason why I didn't is because of the journey and because basically, again, you're bringing two characters that are polar opposites at this point together, and it wouldn't have made sense because, again, you can't juxtapose those type of emotions. You know what I mean? Yes, he's attached to her, but she's attached to just, where her life is right now, with the Ravengers and stuff like that, being that type of person. She's just not there yet. And again, there's opportunity, but I'm glad that they did not open that door. I'm so glad that they just left that alone because the thing is, Peter has to stand on his own without dependency. And so does she. She has to stand basically on her own. I love that. I love the simple fact that we didn't get that aspect of it. And we know where it goes, where even in a comic books, where Peter's relationship, who he ends up with in the books, read to find out, but just who he ends up with basically in the books and where her story takes her. So I was so glad to see that, but I don't want to take up too much time. If you haven't seen the movie, make sure you actually go out there, check it out. It was really dope.
Watch it. It was
gotta
good,
go
man.
see it again. I think it kind of ended out that trilogy really, really well, and it was dope. But with that basically being said, now we talked about this. We talked about how smart James Gunn is as not only just a director, but as a writer himself, and finding out. And just here's the thing: at the end of the day, people, you have to understand that James Gunn is a geek himself, and his sole purpose, he serves the story. He serves the story and the actual characters. He's not looking at who's playing this role. It's serving the purpose of the character and the story. So with that basically being said, we're going to go into this next and our final segment of tonight.
Before you do you want to just hit that super chat?
Yeah, let me hit that super chat up. Thank you for getting me to that, bro. Appreciate it. Where is it at? Did it just come in?
Yep. It's Galactic J.
Here we go. Galactic J. Thank you very much for that, man. James, in recent interviews, said Gamora was originally going to die in Volume 2, but he was talking out. He was talked out of it. He said Zoe told him earlier on she didn't want to play this character long. So
he's right, actually, because there was a thing about how he wanted to kill her. That's what he wasn't thrilled about. He wanted to kill her in Guardians 2. And the Russos talked him out of it because of their plans for Infinity War and Endgame. And he was like, all right, fine. But yeah, he wanted to kill her in Volume 2.
I don't know, man. Killing her off so early, bro. That character is dope. I like Gamora, man.
Fucking Sarah Penn. Anyway, so now with this particular movie, and thank you for that. Thank you for the $9 super chat, Galactic J. I do appreciate that. So going into this in this next phase of where James Gunn is with DC, my question was, do we have the confidence? Do we now see him carrying out? Jason, you're gonna be last.
Yeah.
Do we actually see him carrying out this story? So, Vinny, I'm gonna start with you first on this one, because again, we know he's a talented writer. We know he's a talented director. And before I go into it, I want to pose a couple of things. I'm going to throw these a couple of things out there.
All right.
And I'm going to use Guardians as a platform. Okay. Great action sequences. Check. Because that action sequence that we didn't really dive into was phenomenal. I think every action sequence was dope as shit in this movie. Check. Emotion. Check. When he gets to those beats where it really touches on your heart. The right type of sentiments when it comes to like small ounces of comedy. Because don't forget, in the original Superman film, Christopher Reeves, there was some comedy with Luthor and his bunch and stuff like that, but it was like subtle hints. so he could throw. But here's the thing: is I
Otis and Miss
think
Tessmacher.
Otis and Miss Tessmacher. Right? So
Tessmacher.
what I basically believe is with this, and when we're looking at Gunn, I think he's intelligent. He's smart, but he also knows what the fans' concerns are because he sees it. He understands that. So, Vinny, I'm starting with you. Basically, where do you think this could go? Because I'm honestly, when I look at it, and I'm just going to say it because I'm going to let y'all have the floor, but I honestly have confidence that he can give us a really good rendition of Superman. And it's partly because I have now literally I had to, and you got to like, look, we can't sit in this place for the longest time. That talk and that those emotions, we got to kind of drown them out now because we're beating a dead horse if you think that we're going to get back certain iterations. I think that we'll get a good solid story and a character driven story from Gunn when it comes to his rendition of Superman. What do you think, Vinny?
I definitely am a little bit more optimistic after having seen Guardians 3 from the serious aspect that he was able to integrate into this third film, because I mean he doesn't have a very deep catalog, and obviously a lot of what he's done has been comedy based with Suicide Squad and Guardians, and he did some other stuff like Slither and stuff like that that could be more serious, but for the most part that's kind of like what he's known for. He's funny, he's uh edgy, and he's witty, and those aren't things that are necessarily synonymous with Superman. So the hesitation there of like what is James Gunn's Superman movie going to look like is absolutely valid even after this film, but not to the extent of me feeling like that it shouldn't be done. It's just uh going into it, it's like there's potential for it to be too silly, but I feel like that hesitation has definitely decreased after seeing how successfully he managed a darker, serious tone throughout this third Guardians film, and if he's able to have that balance just slightly more serious with a Superman film, and and then you're obviously your light comedy here or there, I think that it will work. I mean, let's not forget that one of the big problems that many Superman fans, myself included, had with Man of Steel is that they really went out of their way to base Cavill's Superman on New 52, which was much more darker, broody, serious Superman, and they got away from the Boy Scout. They got away from a brighter color palette. They got away from getting cats out of trees and be good for your mom sport, and like being the neighborhood Superman that we grew up with, and they made him a lot darker. So I don't necessarily want to see a darker, serious Superman movie. It needs to have this weird, not weird, but have this delicate balance of seriousness and lightheartedness with a little bit of humor, and still have great action. And they he hasn't done a lot that's that. I mean, because what James is known for is great violence, great slapstick comedy, and so he stepped out of his wheelhouse a little bit with Guardians 3. That makes me more confident, but I still feel that the hesitation for this film is definitely valid because of the limitations that we've seen from his film so far, and I cannot wait to see it, to see what he does with it, because I would love to see Superman on screen again, no matter how they approach it. I'm sure that he is going to approach it as a comic book fan first and foremost. And I think one of the good things about him is, he wanted to do a comic take, a comedy take on Guardians to make it more accessible, not because that's the only way to make a Guardians or a comic book movie. So, and just like with Suicide Squad, he made it the way that it is to make it more accessible. I feel like he likes comic books enough to know that he's going to have to tonally, shift a bit for Superman. And I think that, he gets it. He knows what he's supposed to do. It's just, will he pull it off? So it's very interesting to see. I definitely am more optimistic now than I was, a month ago.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And real quick, we got a $4.99 super chat by Galactic. Jay, fun fact: James and Jim Lee both from St. Louis, where your boy is from. Both saw Superman at the Manchester De Pere Theater back in 1978. Good fact. And
Speaking
they
of Manchester,
probably,
need to do Manchester Black.
yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely, they definitely do. That would be dope. Brendan, now I know like you've been advocating from the very beginning, when it comes to Gunn's interpretation. You have been saying, just temper the doubt and just wait and see. We've been talking about it like, his interpretation will be good. There's been confidence behind it. And I think a lot of the temperament was because of Cavill and everybody's attachment to Cavill at that point. Uh, but understandably, had to wait for that to die
Yeah.
down to move in a space to whereas now we can say, okay, we have to give it a chance. Let it breathe.
I think that's a valid thing. That I think if Cavill walked away from the role and said, "I don't want to be Superman anymore," rather than WB and Gunn and Safran making the decision that they want to go in a different direction, I think people would be less
been
reticent
better.
about this.
I agree.
So, but if people acknowledge that, then they have to. Then they also have to acknowledge, okay, a big part of my beef with this movie is not that I don't necessarily think Gunn can pull it off. It's that I would have preferred something that I didn't get. And so, which is totally valid. You can absolutely be like, I'm pissed I'm not getting more Cavill. I would have loved to see more Cavill as Superman. I absolutely would have. But I can't let that color my expectations of whether or not James Gunn can do a good Superman without Cavill. I think he can. I've been from day one. I've thought that James Gunn can make a good Superman movie because I think he understands that he's making a Superman movie. He's not making a Guardians movie. He's not making a Suicide Squad movie. I think he knows that. I think he's coming at it from a place of being a comic book fan. And sometimes I think because people have success in one arena, then and that success almost works against them because then people just see them as, well, that's what they're going to do on everything, in terms of their style and the execution. And I think he recognizes that a Superman movie is not a Suicide Squad movie, is not a Guardians movie. Let's say, I mean, everybody has a bad day at the office. Great directors have turned in shit movies before. So it's entirely possible that he shits the bed. But I'm hopeful that he doesn't. I don't think he will. I've been very encouraged by some of the casting, rumors that we've heard this week. Obviously, right now, just rumors. We don't know. But Nicholas Hoult, I think, would make an excellent Lex Luthor. And one of the leading, contenders for Lois Lane, I'm super fucking excited if she gets it. I think Rachel Brosnahan, who is the lead on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon, would be fucking
That's a dope show. That's a dope show.
Would be. I love that show. It's winding down. We've only got a couple more episodes before the show ends. She is so magnificent on that show. She's doing a play right now with Oscar Isaac. She's insanely talented. I think she would be fucking perfect as Lois Lane. So I really, really hope that happens. If you get Nicholas Hoult as Lex and you get Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, I think you've got a recipe for success there with this movie. So yeah, I'm very, very optimistic on that front. I really think that James Gunn showed his ability to balance the dramatic with the comedic throughout his whole Guardians run, but specifically this third movie. I think he did that in a way that, in my opinion, Taika failed to do in Love and Thunder. But I enjoyed Ragnarok, but I had still said back then that I thought some of the moments where there could have been more drama, like the death of Odin, and a couple other key moments with Loki and stuff, I thought they went too fast to the comedic and didn't give those dramatic moments enough time to breathe. But James Gunn has proved that he can do that and has done it multiple times. So I'm all in on this, this movie, but I'll say in general, my kind of outlook and my mindset when it comes to going into watch these comic book movies and TV shows is kind of, shifted more so now that I'm going in and it's like, I'm giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. Give me a good fucking movie. And I'm not going to go in with any kind of baggage about, I think they're going to fuck this up. I think this is going to suck and stuff. And if it's shit, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home and I'm going to read a comic book. And I'm going to have a Coke and a smile. Okay? Because I'll tell you, I have, especially in this last month, but the last 6, the comic book reading that I've been doing lately, man, my pull list has grown like fucking crazy. I'm spending so much money. But the books that I've been reading, the indie books, the stuff from Boom Studios and Image and Dark Horse, Omnis that have been releasing, the stuff from the big two, like Batman and Daredevil and Guardians and so many of these books have been really, really fucking good right now. A lot of people shit on modern comics, but some amazing writing is happening right now. And I've been reinvigorated and having a blast just reading comic books every week. So if I go into a movie and it sucks, I'm going to go home, I'm going to read the comics, and they can't take that away from me. And I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to get all, wound up. I was pissed about, Love and Thunder and stuff. Looking back on it, whatever. It sucked. It's not the end of the world. Do I wish it was better? Yeah. And I wish I had this mindset at the time. I have it more now than then. But I'm just going to, like I said, go on about my day, and I'll just turn to the things that I know I'm going to enjoy. And I'll tell you, my mindset has shifted on this stuff. I'll tell you, one of the things that I have found myself actually legitimately excited for, and this is a shocker because I did not expect this, but after seeing him in a recent movie, and then after hearing all the stuff coming out of CinemaCon, I'm fucking excited for this Kraven movie. And I never thought I was going to say that.
Wow.
But what I heard about this footage, what I heard about Kraven and Rhino and how bloody and gory and just fucking crazy, R-rated, by the way, which nobody was expecting that Sony was going to make an R-rated Kraven movie, and it is. And from what I've heard, it earns every bit of that R rating. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm actually excited about seeing fucking Kraven now. So at this point, it's like any comic book movie or show, I don't care. I'm going in just with a positive mindset, and if it's awesome, fucking great. And if it sucks, oh well, I'll watch something else. I'll read something else. But I've spent too much time just getting down and being irritated about shit and stuff. Like honestly, if it was a year ago and I saw Guardians, I would have been more bothered by Adam Warlock in this movie. But now I'm just kind of that doesn't do me any good. And I look at it the same way that, the argument about remakes and stuff, if they remake this classic movie and it sucks, you're not ruining the original. The original is still there. Go fucking watch it. Or a sequel. If you didn't like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that doesn't mean that Raiders is any less fucking awesome. Yeah. Go watch Raiders again, right? So to me, it's I'm going to go see these movies. If the movie sucks, I'm going to read a better comic book. But I'm just not letting myself get wrapped up in the negativity about these things anymore, because I feel like that was a big part of Phase 4, and then how Phase 5 kicked off with Quantumania, and I did not enjoy that. and I realize I can exercise some level of control over that by just not letting it piss me off. So,
got you. Makes sense. It makes sense. Jay,
just say opposite of everything Brendan said.
Pretty much, but nah.
You have the floor, brother.
I don't know how I feel about it, man. I mean, I'm still on the fence. I think he did an excellent job with Guardians 3. He really surprised me with Guardians 3, with the writing and with the feel of the characters and seeing the growth of all of them. And it wasn't super jokey. It wasn't a joke during the serious time in the movie. So it's like I gave him kudos for that movie, man. But Superman, that's close to my heart. But that's my favorite comic book character of all time. Number one, top 100. He's number one, like, to me. So it's like I really hold the character close to my chest. I know Henry is gone, but to me, like, he was the perfect rendition of Superman to me. I mean, everybody loves Christopher Reeve. I love Christopher Reeve, but it's just like, he was perfect. But I was mad as hell for the longest at him for doing that to Henry or whatever. And it wasn't just him. It was the studio and everybody else that screwed him over. I mean, I've talked about it with you guys for the longest about how I feel about that. But, I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got to agree with Brendan. As long as the story is good, then maybe I'll give it a chance, man. And I gotta see the right person playing the character, bro. If it's not the right fit, I don't know if I'd be able to even enjoy it, to be honest. Because replacing Cavill is going to be a hard boot to fill, as far as finding the right guy to play this dude, man. Superman's iconic.
I mean,
he's iconic.
Replacing Reeve was
exactly, exactly,
and we got Cavill. So who knows?
Well, the first one before Cavill, you had Brandon Routh, and it's like
Brandon Routh, and he was good,
but the writing was horrible. But as Superman, he looked like Christopher Reeve too. You know what I'm saying? So to see Cavill come in and be as good or better than Chris, I'm like, whoa, what the hell? This guy looks and acts like Superman. He wants to be Superman. He loves the character. So that's why I thought he was perfect. But then, like I said, what you were just saying earlier, when people take over for another person, sometimes they want change, as far as to make it their personal baby, as far as their creativity is concerned. So it's just like, if he's going to do it, bro, it has to be a good story, but also the person playing a role has to make me believe that they're Superman. Christopher Reeve made me believe he was Superman. So did Cavill, and it's like, he
made you believe you can fly.
Pretty much. I mean, he
made you believe you can touch the sky.
Exactly.
And you sat about it. You thought about it every night and day.
Up to the sky.
And you tried to spread your wings and fly away.
Just not the jail.
You believe you can soar.
Ask for it.
Just not the jail, baby. Just not the jail.
I saw you running for that open door.
I did.
You believed you can fly.
I actually did. I got the red blanket and all. And
only consensual golden showers.
I wish I could find that picture, man. I remember going to go see it back in the day with my pop, bro, with the freaking cornball little tie, the little corny blanket around the neck, bro. Like, that was my first, like, just iconic superhero figure of all time, bro. You have to do it right for me to be satisfied, dog. I don't. They keep talking about this guy that might be a runner-up to play. He looks like Superman, like a young version. What's this cat's name, man?
Oh, was it like Cornyswat? Cornyswat?
He's tall too, right? Like 6'4" or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the dude from Euphoria?
Yeah, he's like Cavill, but younger version of Cavill.
No, the dude from Euphoria is, I think, Jacob Elordi or something. There's another
yeah.
guy that's a front runner that's like
The front
David
runner.
Cornswat, something.
Because
like
him and the one that might be lowest, that one that Brendan was talking about earlier, were in a movie together already.
Okay,
Yeah, they were in a movie together. But this guy, I mean, I would be happy with him as long as he can as long as he acts like Superman, bro. Like, I'll be good with that, bro. Like, but I'm scared. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm still scared.
Somebody
of
like
what's
him,
gonna happen.
and then Brosnahan as Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex. I think that cast would have some serious
Now,
chemistry.
if Holt gets Lex, I'll definitely be happy with that. I think he'll be a perfect young Lex Luthor. I think he would be, bro.
He'd be everything that people wanted out of Jesse Eisenberg, but didn't really get.
Right.
Not because Jesse Eisenberg couldn't do it.
And Eisenberg was good.
Zack Snyder wrote him as a completely different Lex Luthor than we had ever seen.
Right,
like a very manic and just kind of like
crazy Lex.
It wasn't. It was a completely different Lex than we had ever seen. But I think Nicholas Hoult could do a really good classic Lex. I think he could. Menacing, I think he could be really. I think he'd be perfect for it.
That bad version of Bruce Wayne, kind of sorta with that.
Yeah, I think he could be great.
Smart guy, swagger, but he's evil as hell. But he keeps it on the low. I think he'll be a perfect Lex Luthor, man. It just has to. The story has to be good, man. It has to be a balance, like Vinny was saying, of him being like the cat in the tree guy, but I'll break Zod's neck if I have to. That's what I love that about Man of Steel. People, he killed somebody. It's either break this dude's neck or he's going to kill this whole family over there. Like, what do you want him to do? I love that Zack Snyder did that in that movie, man.
It was a controversial move, but I think the important thing that a lot of people overlooked was that he did it, but then he hated himself for it.
Exactly.
He didn't do it and then not suffer the consequences.
Ironically, as opposed to Christopher Reeves, who depowered Zod, then broke his hand and threw him into an abyss.
He killed him too. He killed Zod too. Nobody said anything about it.
He killed Zod, who was no.
Yeah, but that death happened off screen, so it doesn't hit the same.
Well, he still threw his ass in the abyss and he died.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he.
And he made him human and killed his ass.
Yeah, he was no threat.
No threat. Still killed him.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
he's still got a lower body count than Batfleck did in that warehouse scene.
Dude, that is the most. Oh my god,
they were just he just snatched their life away, like all of them.
That is the most perfect Batman fight scene I've ever seen on film.
I love Ben Affleck's version of
oh my god,
Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like,
that warehouse scene, I could watch that shit over and over.
I love how annoyed Ben Affleck is with J-Lo right now, because every time I see Ben Affleck, it looks like he just wants to be anywhere but with her. So maybe he'll go making that Batman movie.
Make a Batman movie. I hope so, bro. I hope so. But dude, he
did it.
Yo, that warehouse scene is fucking iconic. Excuse my French.
I mean, just throwing that crate and the dude's grape
he
just
trashed that guy, bro.
Bro,
or like the grenade in the elevator too.
But when he stabbed him, when dude stabbed him in the shoulder and he screamed, he was like, took the knife out and then killed Buddy with his own knife. I was like,
I'm definitely excited to see Ben one last time next month. You know what I mean?
In blue and gray.
In blue and gray.
Yes, I'm definitely excited about that, man. And I hope.
Do you think this will change his mind if people love the movie?
He's done, dude. He's gonna be 50 and he doesn't want to do those. He doesn't want to do those kinds of movies anymore. I mean, just look at especially with what he just did with Air.
Yeah,
that's what he wants to do. He's not going to go back to
Air. Was dope
I haven't watched it yet, man. I'm going to watch it this weekend.
I loved it, bro. Yeah, I loved it. It's free on
Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, so I definitely loved it, man. Here's
one to say here one more time, dog. If this movie is good, if this Flash movie is good as they say it is, to see him as Batman just one more time, just kicking ass, he's perfect.
We've got a crazy stretch for the next 2 months of movies coming out.
Yeah.
Like I already got my tickets for this weekend, man. Saturday, because Thursday and Friday I'm tied up, but Saturday I'm gonna see I'm gonna go see some ridiculous fucking Vin Diesel nonsense. Going to see.
Oh, with your Fast and Furious.
You goddamn
Yeah,
right.
I gotta take Vinny to go see it because.
Hey, you know what? They might. He said that they might make 3 more
Vin
from
Dunn.
this
I'm
one.
gonna take Vin
2
Dunn
more
to
after
go
this
see
one.
it.
Make
I can see myself in the mirror, bro.
He said
Because
nope.
Dwayne Johnson comes back at the end or something. That's a
See
big
Vin
rumor.
Diesel in the mirror.
No, they confirmed
the first one, man.
Oh, he is back at the end.
Vinny, how many times when people talk about Fast and the Furious, how many times do they associate? How many people associate you with this film, bro?
Not as much since like 2016, 17 when I started growing a beard. But with no beard is ridiculous.
Yeah. Really.
It's all about family, man.
It went from Vin Diesel to Triple H after the beard, but pre-beard it was.
You know, you just got to shave and then you got to start talking really slow.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who every Halloween yells at me because I haven't done Riddick yet.
That would be good. That would be good.
Oh shit! All you need is a '68 Dodge Charger in all black.
And yes, they spoiled it. They revealed it like this fucking studio.
The Rock is back.
Rap, so that the Rap would report that the Rock is in a post-credit scene. But the thing is, you knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
You knew he was gonna. That's that money. Like, come on, there's no way he was.
Him and Vin Diesel make up. They'll be good. They'll be
money
right.
makes
so the hierarchy
of
the Fast and Furious franchise is about to change.
Yeah, right.
Well, it changed when he came in it actually, because if you look at the box office numbers, like it was a solid. But when it hit 5, and then people were like, oh shit, and like he was good in it. Then 5, 6, 7, it like their box office was fucking through the roof.
Yeah.
And and obviously I know you don't watch trailers. But they dropped a new trailer today that was so balls to the wall ridiculous that I was laughing with glee. I was like, "Oh my god!"
They already went to space, so maybe they're racing on the moon now. I don't know.
This trailer that came out today, holy shit, man! I was laughing. So my wife and I.
I'm telling you, they're gonna bring Gal Gadot back, bro. I'm telling you, she's gonna come back in one of those films.
If she wants to, they'd have to pay her enough. But she.
I want them to do something. Use Paul Walker's brother, bro. Bring him back. Like,
well, they said that. So I don't know how, but they said that this movie kind of once and for all says goodbye to his character.
So they're gonna kill him off?
Something. No, not like kill him off, but I think there's something where they'll probably bring his brother in and have some CG like they did to finish the 7th one. But yeah, dude, I already got my tickets for that. I already got my tickets for for Across the Spider-Verse. So I grabbed those. I'm gonna see it. I don't have high expectations, but hopefully it turns out to be really good. But I'm gonna see Transformers Beast Wars.
Oh, of course. Yeah, nothing's saying
that last trailer that they dropped.
Oh, yeah.
I did not think that last trailer looked that good.
I want to see it.
To be perfectly honest. But I want to go see it. So I'm going to check that out. And you got The Flash coming.
Did you see Wick? Wick was
Indiana
good.
Jones. I
like the
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Indy 5. Yeah, Indy 5. Like,
I'm scared about that
one. I can't wait for that. No, I have no reservations about Indy 5. That they're so fucking positive on that movie that the studio, they're taking it to Cannes to debut at Cannes. That like they wouldn't do that if they didn't. And James Mangold and then like
I do not want them to kill off Indiana Jones or erase him with that time thing.
They're not erasing Indiana Jones.
I don't want it. I'm just saying I don't want it. I don't want that because I'll be.
And
pissed
also,
off.
if he dies, I mean, he's fucking 90 years old. So
I don't know. I don't want that either.
You don't want it. Let's see what Harrison Ford, because again, he doesn't want to be a part of these big franchises anymore, bro. Like,
Harrison Ford, I love him, bro, but he is such a dickhead, bro. He hates Han Solo. He hates Indiana Jones.
He doesn't hate those characters. He hates the kind of like
the nostalgia that comes with them.
They were like classic movies, but there weren't fucking conventions 24/7 around them. People constantly asking him about the same 2 or 3 roles over and over again,
Yeah.
I don't think he would care about it as much. But everybody is like Indiana Jones, Han Solo. You know,
Yeah.
Did you ever want to have a lightsaber? Like, how many fucking times can you like? You know, you're trying to do the fucking Witness over here or something. People are like, yeah, but flying the Millennium Falcon must have been really fucking cool, right? It's like,
yeah.
So I can understand after 4 decades being a little perturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, he
I don't
could
know.
just be crotchety.
That's true.
Anyway, yeah, this film, again, take it with a grain of salt, but I basically have a firm belief that James Gunn, again, it's always a wait and see type of situation. Just wait to see, and you might be pleasantly surprised. It's not going to be out for some time, but they go into production soon. And who knows, with this writer strike bullshit that's going on right now,
it's kind of moot point anyway, and not even allowed to work on a fucking script.
Yeah,
that's right. That's still going on.
Crazy. It was like a week after they announced Marvel announces that they got Nick Pizzolatto from True Detective to come in and punch up the script on Blade. It was like the day before, actually, I think. And then the strike, and it's like, well, he ain't doing shit now.
Yo, what's going on with Blade too? That dude, what's his name?
Mahershala Ali.
He said he hated the script, bro. What's going on?
The one that they had back the last one, they scrapped that one and started over from scratch.
Oh, they already had a whole script. Oh shit.
Yeah, they scratched that one because they were supposed to go into production last year, and they scrapped that whole thing. They put it off. They wrote a new script, and then they had just hired the guy from True Detective to come in and punch that script up. So not a complete rewrite, but to punch it up. And then the next day, the writer's strike happened. So
damn,
there's definitely going to be an impact felt on a lot of stuff. Even like Daredevil shut down production because the thing is, you got to have writers
down.
Yeah, you got to have writers on set.
Those kids going to be 45 by the time Stranger Things back half of season 5 finishes.
Damn.
Yeah,
man.
Stranger Things is and that's the thing because you you have to have writers on set because some of the worst things that came out of the strike that was back in back in 2015 or so, or was it? No, it was 08, I think it was.
07, 08, somewhere
07, 08. It was, it was 15 years ago. It was that they didn't have writers, so when they kept production going and they needed to do any on-the-fly rewrites and stuff, it was fucking executives that were
Hero season 2.
No, oh, yeah, Hero season 2. Yeah.
And you ever watch Heroes and then second season was like, man, this sucks.
I got the box set from
the first season was magic, and then the second
first season was
awesome.
A
fucking turd.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's what a lot of shows either just didn't come back at all, or they had really subpar and shortened seasons that year because the writers weren't on those. Now, how far along they were in certain things and where if they can just come right back. Something like Daredevil, I feel like probably won't be it won't be too bad just because I think they were far enough along and then they paused while, so they can come back and have writers on set as they continue production. I think that, it'll be fine. But they may have to push back dates so they don't rush stuff. So, certain things are already in the can, already done. Loki season 2, obviously Secret Invasion is in a couple of weeks, so that's not going to be affected. But there are things it's they're saying, oh, well, House of Dragons season 2 isn't going to be affected. All those scripts are done. Yeah, but if you don't have writers on set to deal with things as you need them, and you have executives step in and be like, oh, why don't we have them drink out of?
But wait, hold up. They paused the Daredevil show. That wasn't done yet.
No, it wasn't done.
No, they've been filming it for
they
the
were
last
just
3
filming
months.
it and they had to stop it because the strike was taking place.
But is the script done? The script was done, right?
The thing is, the script is done, but they stopped it for the simple fact that where they were striking was near the set,
right outside. They were striking right outside
their set.
But that and also,
a lot of the cast and crew didn't want to cross the
filming and there's any slight change or whatever you have to make to the show or whatever, you have to alter the script, and in doing that breaks the writing.
The writing isn't just done.
Yeah, sometimes writing's done as the show is being filmed. So even okay, you know, like how Harrison Ford said "I know" instead of "I love you too." Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
then had to change that in the script. So even though that was improvised, that's a rewrite.
Oh, that's right. He did make that. Oh shit.
Yeah, but you have to have writers on, like, was it Marcus and McFeely, the writers for the scripts for like for the Russo brothers for like Infinity War and Endgame. They were on set every single day of that production.
Yep.
So stuff needed to be punched up. They were like, the scene isn't working. Okay, got to do a rewrite, and then they make it better. But if you don't have the writers on set when you're making the show, then who's going when something's not working, and or somebody gets a bright idea, it's one of the suits who aren't writers, and they're just like, yeah, let's try this, and and then
so
you
they keep them
shit.
on set for production in case they want to change something.
Yeah, they're working every day.
Oh, okay,
it's not just like, oh well, the scripts are done, so we don't need writers anymore, so we can make the show.
Right.
We need them on set. That's why a lot of stuff is shutting down. So that's why, like, Daredevil, stopped, is because where they're looking is right outside of the set that they're filming on, and then other locations throughout New York City. So they've been filming for like 3 months, but they had to hit pause, and they'll come back when, but then it's a matter of like, well, if they have other commitments, the cast and the crew to other projects, and it's like this goes on for months, then they're like, okay, we can go back to production on Daredevil. It's like, all right, but do we have the cast and crew? Are they not on other things? And you got to work your schedule around, and it means that like a 2-month strike could delay a show or a movie by a year. Like, so we don't know. It's going to be different for each show and each movie, but there are going to be some things that are impacted a little bit and some things that are impacted a lot.
They still on strike right now, though. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be for a while. And the thing is, you got to keep in mind that next month is also renegotiation for even the screen actors and the directors. So there's a lot that can actually happen. We just got to kind of wait and see. But anyway, I'm going to actually round it out here, man, because like I said, I got some things I got to do. Everybody else does too. It's getting pretty late. But thank you guys for actually coming through. Everybody out there for tuning in. It's been a great show. Welcome back, everybody. So glad to be back. We are back. We learned a lot tonight, even about some butt naked.
Bro, don't tell me you ate that whole damn box, dog. Put a bag out. I want to see. Put that plastic bag out. I know it's empty.
That's
what I was about to say. Don't tell me you ate that whole damn bag, dog. You're gonna be shitting rainbows for like a week. Shitting sour rainbows for a whole week. Mess around with this boy, man. How many bags in there? 2 big bags or just one?
No, just one.
Oh, I'm about to say you probably ate that whole shit. Damn.
It's a new sponsor of the show.
I'm going to Costco's tomorrow and see if they have that shit there.
What the fuck did you get him at, bro? For real?
He not saying nothing.
What?
Where'd you get it from?
What? They're made for me.
You son of a bitch.
Come on, man. The fuck did you get them from?
They're made.
You stingy bastard. You won't say where you got them from either, huh?
Anyway.
Wow, dude. You saw it here, folks. Gone. He's stingy as hell.
Shitting rainbows. Anyway, Jedi Kane, what you got coming up, bro? What can we expect?
Just waiting for figures to come in. I gotta go pick up another comic book stash tomorrow. I'll probably call Brendan around 3. And to look for some books, and that's it, man. That's it.
I'm waiting for Johnson Jedi Pimp baby powder next week.
That's me.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Me. Like custom shit.
Yeah, like, custom baby powder, baby. That's it.
It's gonna be fucking incredible.
That's it.
Bro.
That's it.
So anyway, you waiting on some figures, man. So definitely can't wait for the actual update.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Oh, I got what's the name coming? I got Invincible coming. Matter of fact, I bought him off eBay.
I'm fucking trying to figure out where. Well, mind you, I got him
off eBay, bro.
I got my Rogue through.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
No. Oh,
I got it.
Yeah. I got it through Outfitters, 1-6 Outfitters.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be waiting for a while, I guess, because I don't know. I haven't got any notification or anything as of yet. So, but it's out. I mean,
I heard that Invincible figure in hand is fire, dog. I cannot wait to get that.
There's with So Toys. So my Night Spider has shipped. So that one I should have soon, or at least the tracking. It was supposed to go out early this week, so it might be today or tomorrow.
That's the one with the trench coat, right?
The red leather.
Yeah, man, that looks
the Rogue. Some people started to get, but I guess a couple large shipments of Rogue were recalled.
What?
Because of a fuck up when they were packaging, and some didn't have accessories, like they were missing some hands and stuff like that. So they actually had to recall, not all of them, but there were I guess a good number that went out that they had to have come back to the warehouse to then, because they had a fuck up at their warehouses or whatnot. But I don't think it's going to take like a super long time. But, even though we saw like those unboxing videos of like Rogue and stuff, that doesn't mean like everybody's just going to have them.
We need Storm next, bro.
I think it might take a couple weeks.
Yeah. We need Storm next. Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we'll definitely see that next. Anyway, keep us updated. Vinny, what you got coming up, bro?
June 2nd through the 4th, Philadelphia. If you're in the area, we drawn at Philadelphia Fan Expo. Like a crazy guest lineup so far. Like everybody, Hayden Christensen, Michael J. Fox, Carlo,
Bo-Katan
will be there. Yep, she'll be there. Christopher Lloyd will be there with Michael J. Fox.
Where, downtown? Center City?
Right downtown in Philly. Man, the guest list for that is just ridiculous. The Smallville cast will be there. The Arrow cast will be there. Stephen Amell will be there. Tom Welling, like all the Arrow people, all the Smallville people.
Send me all them dates, bro. I might
the Back to the Future people. Hayden Christensen will be there. So like they went all out with their guest list this year. Much bigger stars here than they had.
That's what's up, man.
Last year was fun. And last year was the biggest con I had ever drew at. So it was such a blast, and getting to be at such a big con. So I'm really excited, looking forward to this year's. I have so much more stuff now than I did last year to present to everybody. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I've been just spending a little bit of free time I have with it being so crazy this season, just gearing up for that one next. So looking forward to it. And as always, Uncivilized Scoundrels, talking Star Wars on Thursdays or every other Thursday, depending on what all we got to chat about. And as always, and as returning Comic Book Talk with Friends. Good to be back.
Exactly. So that means we got to get some topics. Y'all got to think of some shit for next week.
Yeah, man.
Bo-Katan said, sit.
I got you.
Want to sit on my face.
Yeah.
What'd you say? What, Nikki?
She said, I'm in that.
You got topics?
I'm in at 2% from Bo-Katan.
2%.
Okay.
I'm at 2%. Sit on my face.
Definitely, man. So definitely, next week.
He just slid that in. So
my bad. Y'all heard that?
I like it.
This is like my face.
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that?
Brendan, what you got coming up, bro? Next, what can we expect from you, man?
Bo-Katan is the best.
Oh my god! Yeah. Well,
she's
give
the
the lady
best.
a seat then.
She said it. She said
it. Man, I've been putting up art prints and stuff like crazy. I just had a ton of like David Mack signed stuff, and I got some slabs that I just got that I got to put up on the wall too. Got this gorgeous boy that needs to go up on the wall.
Thing is
so
fire.
12.
Wow.
Because you put that up also. You got the figure. You took a picture with the figures in front of it.
Yeah, he showed me that.
Yeah, so I got that, and then this one too is like one of. I mean, so this I actually got it at Wicked Comic Con in Boston a couple weeks ago, but this one is actually Daredevil #1 from the Kevin Smith run Volume 2.
That's dope. He showed me that
but I got Jimmy Palmiotti was there, and I got him to sign and remark this. And
wow,
that like head right there on the side there, like
snap! He drew that on there.
Yeah, that's a remark that he did on the book. and he had
that's
just
awesome.
gotten it back like a couple of days before the show. And so I bought this off of him when I was at the show, but he did all the colors for the early Volume 2 Daredevil stuff. So yeah, this book, I was like super excited to get this. Like that remark is fucking awesome. So yeah, I got these and a bunch of art stuff to get framed and put up on the wall. I'm slowly filling this in with stuff that Lael picked up from NYCC last go around for me, and then more stuff that I got from David Mack a couple weeks back when he was here in Boston. So yeah, I'm basically just putting tons of art. I've spent so much money just on framing artwork that it's been like I've spent like over $1,500 just on framing art.
You going to Michael's for that, for the framing, or?
Yeah. I go. So I got them all custom framed at Michael's, but like I could have gone the cheap route, like the cheap glass, and then I went with the anti-reflective, the glare reduction. But I even told them, I was like, it's not about the glare reduction, because to be honest, it's like it was there, but it wasn't like, oh my God, there's so much less glare. It was more the color fidelity of the glass. Like he put the glass over one and it was almost like milky, like it washed out the colors. They weren't as vibrant. And then when you put it, the good quality glass, man, it makes such a fucking difference. A piece of art. You can really appreciate it way more. So I was like, I had to. I spent the money on that, and it, like I said, I'm doing it in batches. I still have like 6 more prints that I have to get framed. But yeah, I mean, doing it at Michael's, and they turned it around each like batch that I brought. It took like a week. Got them back.
They're good. Yeah, they're good.
Hell yeah, man. If you haven't already, everybody's link to their page is in the description. Jedi Kid, Vinny, Butt Naked Collector Without Fear is actually in there. You might even get some tips on where I'm finding where you get them shits from. Anyway, we will be back here next week, same time. What do I got going on?
I'm telling you, shit and rainbows all week. He gonna eat that whole box by freaking Wednesday. Watch.
Bro, what?
Greedy ass. I should gonna be gone by Wednesday.
What got going on, man? A couple of different things. I'm gonna be busy. Like I've been busy off camera.
No, I still got a lot in here.
Still, I know. Still putting together this display. I just finished. And bro, you didn't tell me.
I'm gonna send you that tape, bro. I need your address. I have a whole roll left for that tape to cover all the holes.
Okay,
and cool. It makes it look sleek like a module case.
Definitely. I'll send you my address. I'll send it to you when we get off. But bro, like this, you didn't tell me how big that fucking tumbler really was, bro.
I told your ass it's big as hell.
That thing is big.
Yeah.
Hell.
And then check it out. The Jazz Inc. Batmobile, the Justice one, is bigger than that.
It's bigger. And the 89 Batmobile is going to be bigger.
It's bigger than that. Yeah, the tumbler is the smallest one.
Yeah, it is. Like I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do what I did with this with that 89.
But you got room. You got room. When you were saying you want to do that, the bat, his little bat cave from Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. You have room for that. It's a cat on YouTube. I forget his name. Damn. But he shows how he built his for his garage stand, that whole scene with the computers and everything, bro.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be in the midst of doing all of this shit too. So anyway, everybody, thank you for basically coming in.
We out. We geeking out.
We are out. I can't. You know what?
I'm telling you, Wednesday they're gonna be gone. Watch, or Thursday they'll be gone. Jesus Christ. Rainbow shits.
Fuck it. Peace.